The platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, a Monday night, supercars into GT3. It's a good recipe to strap yourself in on the lounge, crack open a coldie and relax and let us do all the work for the next 3 hours. Nice to have you along, everybody. Zach Cabe and Adam Lavis with you. Good evening, Australia. This is night one of week 7 in term 1 of 2024. 4 weeks to the checkered flag. This time in 3 weeks, we'll, of course, be crowning champions for Monday Night Motorsport for term 1 of 2024 with a 45-minute race for the supercars into a 90-minute race for GT3. Tonight, it's sprint racing across the board. 25 minutes here from Barber Motorsport Park, where round 7 of the Player 1 Sim Gear Super 2 and Super 3 series takes centre stage. Then we head on to Mugello in Italy, where we'll bring you the AM split race first up, a round 7 race 1 for them, and then on to the feature race for our GT3 Pro category, or cohort, I should say. I'm Zach Caben. Adam Lavis is here alongside me. We're streaming across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, the platforms of the GSRC. Barber Motorsport Park, one of our all-time favourites as far as American racetracks are concerned. 3.66 kilometres, 31 degrees the track temperature at the moment, 28 the ambient. That's very warm for early springtime over there, let me tell you. And time is early morning at this point in time, but the server is about to kick into race mode and we'll update the time and track and weather conditions for you in just a tick. In the meantime, let's just have a look at the championship standings here and what the tail of the tape, the lay of the land looks like going into this 7th round, by the end of which drop rounds get added into the equation. So everything gets shaken, rattled, rolled, stirred, etc. And that will throw the cat amongst the pigeons and give us a clearer picture of who we've got to keep an eye on over the next 3 weeks. Greg Favell, 25 points clear of Damien Cairns, and then another 59 back to Sean Hart. Stephen Varga, 196. And then both Michael Fraser and Will Buchanan on 190 points. Leith McClellan on 188 makes up the top 7. Super 3. James Boardman on top still, despite a troublesome run last week, 240 place. Aaron Bryan on 223, Dale Jeffries 186, 182 for Troy Davidson and 161 for Reece Dickinson. Aidan Schultz out there in 6th place. Haven't seen Schultzy for a couple of weeks. He's been MIA. Let's have a look at the grid for tonight, ladies and gentlemen. How good's this going to be? Greg Favell and Damien Cairns on the front row. Jason Spriggs and Mikey Hammond the second. Third row, Lorne McKee and Sean Hart. Fourth row, Jaden Green, Tim Nicol. Fifth row, Stephen Varga and Aaron Bryan, the best placed of the Super 3 cohort. We'll get to that in a moment. Michael Fraser, Brendan Griffiths from 6. Alan Geel and Sean Vandermeulen from 7. Nick Fodiatis, Adam Proctor from 8. Joe Baldwin, David Christensen from 9. Mark Howard and Philip Butler from 10. From 11, it's Greg Spencer and Pete Matson, James Boardman and Dimitri Kolbach from 12, Mark McNamara and Tristan Koch from 13, Liam Miles and Brett Bradbury from 14, Nigel Patton and Michael Ladder from 15. It's 3:30 in the afternoon server time, 32 degrees the track temp, 27 the ambient. Ready to fire. Shane Ewens will round out the field from 31st position. Adam Johnson doesn't look like he's joined the grid just yet, although he had 30 seconds to do so, but he's opted not to. No Stephen Varga on the grid either. Not sure what's happened to Varga. We'll have to find that out because that's championship defining in every sense of the word. We're underway at Barber. Watch for drama at turn 1 and 2. It's a logjam with the combined splits for the first time this season. It's good to see. Means we've got a little bit more entertainment. We can call 2 races in 1. And we should have plenty of action throughout the course of 25 minutes. Plenty to keep our eyes on and be undistracted with other things that might go on because there'll be too much happening on the racetrack to get distracted in the first place. 40 seconds gone already. Greg Favell, finally a clean jump. Skips away from pole. Leads Damien Cairns and Mikey Hammond to the end of the back straight for the first time. And a very good evening to you at this point in time, Adam Lavis. Nice to have you on board. So far, so good. Stephen Varga's joined from the back of the field from pit lane, as has Adam Proctor. Everybody else is fine and dandy at this point, which is more than I was expecting. I was expecting a little bit of drama, as we usually get first lap at Barber, but so far, so good.
Yeah, so far, so good. Not too many Super 3 guys here tonight, only about a bit over a dozen, but there's plenty of Super 3 guys here. Keen and looking to get some racing under their belts.
And Damien Cairns into pit lane on the opening lap. Now, has he been done for a jump start? Yes, he has. Unbelievable for Damien Cairns. Such wretched luck. Favell leads. Hammond is second. We're looking in the vicinity of, based on lap time so far, I think we got down to a 1 minute 22 in qualifying. So if we're looking at that as an indication as to where we're going, 1 minute 22.44, 4x6 is 24, 6x3 is 18, plus the splash and dash. So 17, 18 laps on the agenda here tonight, ladies and gentlemen. So far, so good, except if your name is Damien Cairns. Anthony Visma saying no fuel. That might have been okay. Yeah, that is a problem because it wasn't a stop. It wasn't a drive-through penalty. It was a fuel problem. He started with qualifying fuel trim. 22.2 seconds he was stationary for. And Cairns has made a rod for his own back for the rest of the night. Now, the good news. Combined split. We mentioned it briefly off the top, but yes, Super 2 and Super 3 combined for the rest of the season, which is great to see. Okay. And there's a 10-second penalty coming the way of Joe Baldwin for contact on Brendan Griffiths. That's not so good. The good news in all of that is that with 2 races in one, no shortage of action for us to focus our attention on like this. Nick Fodiatis down on the inside to 11th. Off goes Sean Hart on the main straight. Running wide through the final corner and getting gobbled up and losing a couple of spots, dropping down to 10th as a result of that. The good news for you at home is that, like every other split that we have, where we have 2 races in one essentially, totem pole looks a little bit different this evening. Completely justified the turnout of the M-split competitors, the Super 3s in this instance. The club's decision to combine the splits. The way you pick them apart, Greg Favell 1:23.11, the fastest lap of the race thus far. The bluish numbers on black background at the top left of your screen are the Super 2 split. The blue background with the white numbers are the Super 3 split. The to be determined will be grey background with white numbers. Brendan Griffiths, that was the contact. Joe Baldwin. Yeah, 3-1 doesn't go, trucker. Unfortunate. Might have got done by a little bit of a blind spot there. Baldwin, 12th now, but with a 15-second invoice coming his way. Or was it 10? Sorry, my apologies. 10-second invoice coming his way. Good old Mark Horton and Anthony Visma having a lovely catch-up there on the right-hand side of the screen through our comment section on our YouTube feed. Mugello, I'm very excited about that when we get there for GT3 Am and Pro, but at the moment our focus is supercars. 3 rounds to go after this one. We're not quite done with our North American run. And of course we've got an Australian favourite to finish things off in a couple of weeks' time. Long Beach next week, Donington Park, and then Phillip Island. Good battle this. Aaron Bryan in 8th place, chasing Alan Gill in 7th. And then Michael Fraser trying to stick with them as well. Jaden Green's got by into 4th place, up 3 spots on where he started, having a good run. His next target is Jason Spriggs. So those two are having a good little ding-dong right now. Mark Horton saying that he's back next weekend. That'll either be for the Enduro or for something on Monday night. But when he says next weekend, that makes me believe that he's talking about the Enduro on Sunday. More clarification, no doubt, in the comments to come. 19 minutes to go here at Barber. 1:23.1 for Greg Favell, the fastest lap of the race. We ride with Nick Fodiatis. Great to see our Aussie V8s on international soil, albeit virtually. It was one of the great things about the COVID pandemic, actually. The emergence of sim racing as an escape from reality. And also, obviously, having the supercar stars get their sim rigs out, lock up there from Dimitri Kolbach, and also the car in front of Kolbach as well, which was Brandon Griffiths. Watching the supercar boys go to work and race on international turf, albeit virtually. Far more successful and less costly than their expedition over to America in 2013. Oh, off goes Pete Matson. Just a little bit of grass clipping from Pete. A lot of excitement in the air this week in iRacing land as well, ladies and gentlemen. When we join you on Thursday night, the rain server will have launched. I don't know whether Adam Lavis or anyone else within the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club is planning on throwing a curveball in the next couple of weeks with their respective classes that are going to be included in that that rain module that's dropping.
Well, the Porsche Cup isn't a part of it, so it'll be as is. But
it won't be Thursday night.
But I believe, if I've read the information correctly, I've got everything from Wednesday onwards. We've got to redo all the servers because they're basically cancelling everything that's already made. So we've got to redo them anyway. So we'll see what we can do. GT3s, we'll have to have a look at because it depends. Because we know like that 6 or 7 of the GT3 cars have got the thing, but there's a couple like the McLaren and the Ford. Because they're not in the IMSA split, we're not sure if they're getting it. So we'll have to wait and see. Because when they say GT3, it's more the combined G3 GP service.
Yep.
So whether they also do, whether they're smart and also do the McLaren and the Ford, so you can still do GT3 racing as well. We'll have to wait and see.
Copy that. Have they mentioned what new circuits are coming? Is it Mazzano this time round?
Where's he going? That's the not the track.
Hang on, David Christensen all over the back of Sean Vandermeulen and through. Vandermeulen pulls to one side and lets him go.
I think Sean's got an issue because he was all over the place today.
And Howard goes as well. Oh, actually, the other point is Vandermeulen can force the issue down there with Mark Howard, but they're not in the same class either.
Yeah, Dave is in the top split, but he had a very poor qualifying tonight. So he's on the comeback trail.
Ah, there we go. I'm being told, thank you to our commenter on Twitch, Mazzano and Portimao. Now, if I'm right in saying that'll be the first Portuguese circuit to be launched on iRacing, and it is a ball terror. It is an absolute belter.
It is a great track, and if they've caught, because I remember when I came from Project Cars to here, how much the undulation was like more pronounced in iRacing, and I thought it was a big enough step up from Forza into Project Cars. So if they've got the undulation and the elevation feel right for Portimao, it's going to be a roller coaster. Jaden Green been first to lane to do his stops.
So pit sequence underway at the end of lap 7. Make a note of that. 15 minutes still to run. So 10 minutes gone. And then another 7 where that came from will get us 20 minutes gone. 5 minutes to go. So yeah, we're heading, we're certainly on that trajectory for 17, 18 laps here tonight. Super 2, Super 3, showing the class leaderboard for you there on the left-hand side of your screen now, folks. And this is Greg Spencer. 4th place in that Super 3 split at the moment. He's got Pete Matson, Shane Newens, and James Boardman. He's got a handful there as well because the wheels are locking up on him, blowing smoke all over the place as they go through turn 2. That long sweeping right-hander. And now Matson under pressure here from Shane Newens. Matson down the inside, trying to get Newens back. Can he do it? Can he hold it? Newens wants to force the issue around the outside, and he'll get away with it as well. After a moment for Matson. Pete lit it up, caught it, but bogged it down in the process. Oh boy. Adam Johnson, the only non-starter, and Stephen Varga has been in for second stop as well. We missed that. So Proctor started from lane, as did Varga, and here comes a flurry of pit activity now. Tim Nicol, Alan Gill and Sean Hart all in. But what's interesting for mine, Stephen Barber pitted at the end of lap 3 for 23.4 seconds. Now, is that enough to get into the checkered flag? Is 15 laps doable on a full stint, on a full tank of fuel? Tom Foster tuning in via our platforms as well, as it appears at the top of the screen there. Week 7 already, and now the cars leave pit lane. Jaden Green. See, that's the risk that Jaden runs. He's opted for a little bit of clear air, but I guess because of the two-split format that we've got now, the combined server, he's come out in traffic. He's in the thick of it now for a little while. 15th at the moment. Whether it buys him any sort of territorial gain later in the piece remains to be seen. This is what happened to Newlands. Uh-oh. Similar to what we saw for Pete Matson. Just a little bit further, a little bit closer to the apex of the corner, not through the corner. Michael Ladder. Left onto the main straight. Uh-oh. Grass. And wall. Armco waits at the right-hand side. As soon as the car got unstable, he was a passenger. Adam Proctor. Uh-oh. Light it up. Pull on the brakes. And then light it up again, getting back going. 13 minutes gone. 12 to go. Mark Howard sits there in 10th place at the moment. And under no pressure as far as his class position is concerned, but as far as track position is concerned, he's got some pressure mounting from Sean Vandermeulen, and not for the first time tonight.
I'm very surprised that there's a good 3 or 4 of the Super 2 guys did opt to do the early stop, knowing that there's a big field of cars here tonight. It just seems probably one of those things that probably did a reflex thing, and I'll get out of traffic here, and then just as soon as they come out, they go, I have made a huge mistake. Mikey's in the lane.
That is a beautiful sound on track cam there as they thunder over the ripple strips. Got to love that. So Michael Hammond on the lane, so too Michael Fraser and Aaron Bryan, so too Joe Baldwin and Nick Fadiada. No, Nick's off the track. Nick's off the track. He's in the lane, but he's got unstable.
He's buggered the pit entry up.
He's not only buggered the pit entry up, but he's really damaged the race car. He's got it all sorts of wrong coming into pit lane, which is very un-Nick-like. Bang. And he'll be kicking himself. There's no doubt about that. He'll need that fast repair now. Pete Matson's on the lane. Mark Howard, David Christensen, Nick Fadiadis, Joe Baldwin, Michael Fraser, Aaron Bryan, all on pit road. So too Damien Cairns and Adam Proctor. So that answers the question for Cairns. Cannot get to the checkered flag after coming in after mistakenly starting with qualifying fuel rather than race fuel.
So Jaden was in the leading group when he pitted, and he's now 8.5 seconds behind Mikey, who is effectively second. Shane, hold on a bit.
Uh-oh. Well done. Got away with it. Pavel, Spriggs, McKee, the running order at the moment. Uh-oh. McKee's off the road, coming into pit lane as well. He's had a moment. Similar to Nick, I'd say. He's in pit lane. Oh, no. Newlands goes. Baldwin goes with him.
That wasn't Baldwin, that was Aaron.
Oh, no. Sorry, Bryan. Aaron Bryan. Oh, there's a couple of cars that are struggling to get through there. Very skatey part of the racetrack. Sorry for a moment there. I thought that was Joe. The black livery. Joe was the one in front, wasn't he? Yeah. So Bryan, they nearly blocked the racetrack. So Lorne McKee on pit road has come out after 10.9 seconds. Nick Fodiatis stopped for 10.4. So even though...
Oh, he's gone well.
Yeah.
I think it's not too bad. He sort of saved that, but it wasn't ideal.
So both McKee and Fodiatis, not a great example of how to enter pit lane. But they got away with it. They didn't wear the wrap of iRacing for their mistake.
So interestingly, the field was spreading out. The pit stops have actually closed everyone back up again.
Yes, which is good. We like it when it's nice, tight and bright. Oh, no. Jeez, what a moment there. Who was that?
That's Liam.
Yep, Liam Miles, gone. First time I've actually seen Liam in this server, as you said to me before we got going, and he's running club colours, which is great to see. We encourage that, but I didn't notice. It was the first time I'd seen the livery in a while, and it completely threw me.
Yeah, we used to see him in the Bob Jane car and the Polkas.
Yep. And this is Mark Howard at the moment. So Favell leads, Hammond second, Spriggs and Van der Meulen into pit lane. Everybody else has stopped. Favell stopped on lap 12, so we've missed that somewhere along the line here. He got back out with a 3.1 second advantage over Mikey Isles. Oh, jeez. Howard around the outside. Van der Meulen and McNamara. Damien Cairns. He'll be ruining what might have been tonight. So will Stephen Varga. Varga sitting down there in 21st position. Mark McNamara to pit lane now as well. Field not yet cleansed. Still Newens, Butler, Bradbury and Isles to pit. They're going on to lap 13 as we speak. And Spencer, who's running 6th. The leader of the 7th now. McKee's got by 7th. He is the leader of the Super 2 split for the moment. And judging by the numbers I'm seeing here, he'll go well. He'll go well to lose that through the pit lane transit. The first one he'd be worried about would be Trucker, but then I think he might be okay after that. But then Trucker's got that 10-second penalty as well hovering over his head. So that's the other mathematical equation we've got to take into consideration here. Favell leads, Hammond is second. We are just over 6 minutes from home, which, if I've done my numbers right, now that Greg Favell's come around to start lap 14, 6 minutes, it's a little over 4 laps. So we should get 5 laps in from here. 18, the magic number tonight, if I've got the numbers right. So battles raging around the circuit, just not in the top 4. 5th is the first battle on the circuit, Tim Nicol and Lorne McKee. David Christensen in 13th in a 3-way fight here with Fodiatis and Bryan, so teammates as well caught up in that. Just having a look down, Bradbury, Isles, Butler, Newlands yet to stop. So too Spencer on lap 14. We were wondering about when who was it that pitted on lap 3? Was it Stephen Varga? We were wondering if 3 was... Yeah, it was. We were wondering if lap number 3 was too early to stop and top up and go to the flag. I think we'll find out the answer to that question this time by, depending upon what the 5 that haven't yet stopped do. I dare say there might be a little bit of fuel saving going on here. Yes. Zach Mack, good evening. I'm assuming that Mack introducing himself to us, Adam, or I'm not entirely sure on that one. Maybe he just likes how Zach and Mack rolls off the tongue, even though my Zach has a K, not a C, but that's okay. I'm not picky. Through they come onto the main straight. Good to have you on board, mate. Thanks for tuning in. 4 minutes to go. Yes, Mav. Yes, Adam Lavis, Mav. Yep. And C and V are right next to one another on the keyboard too. I'll forgive that. 21 minutes gone, 4 minutes to go. We're just easing into it tonight. Hasn't been the most action-packed, chaotic race I've ever seen. A little bit of a lock-up there. Oh, double lock-up. Jeez, they both went wide. That was Fodiatis. And with him was Bryan, and it's given David Christensen a little bit of a it's Starkey. Oh, that explains so much. Hello, mate. Nice to have you on board. I just didn't recognise the handle. Oh, it's coming through YouTube. That's why it's not coming through Facebook. Good on you, mate. Thank you. How good. Gotta love banter with the comment section on a Monday night. This is Brendan Griffiths. Bang! And wedged. Gone. He'll take no further part. He'll be on the tow rope in pit lane. Gone, out of business. Done.
He did the exact same thing in qualifying. When in qualifying, he didn't get stuck.
He did. We saw it, actually. We were watching it before we went live. He did exactly the same thing. But Shane Ewan's coming in at the end of this lap, I would suspect, at the end of lap 15. Brett Bradbury and Shane Ewan's the only two yet to stop. Aaron Bryan, I remember Starkey saying something about being down the coast this week.
Apparently he was trying to
Lucky him.
He was trying to take the road set up and couldn't quite get it working in time.
That's fair. That's fair. Nigel Patton also yet to stop, only that one spot on where he started, as both Bradbury and Ewan's come to pit lane. Now, that moment for Fodiatis and Bryan last time around gave Christensen a sniff. He wasn't able to do anything with it, though. That's the problem. Pavel, Hammond, Spriggs, Green, Nicol, McKee, Hart, Geel, the top 8, and Trucker now the leader of Super 2. 3, I should say. Fodiatis is 10th, Bryan, Christensen, Howard, Van der Meulen is next best. So where did Greg Spencer's drop to in all of that? Wow, Spencer's dropped down to 19th off the podium.
5th in class, though.
In Super 3. You're right. Is it 5th or 4th?
No, he's 5th.
Yes, Aaron Bryan is 2nd, yes. And that's my bad, because I'm looking at the green number on the screen, the green number that you're seeing, but the blue number in the bottom left-hand corner, or the white number on the blue background in the bottom left corner, gives that one away, ladies and gentlemen. Our timing screen isn't that clever sometimes. Main straight, 1.5 to go. 2 for these guys, 1.5 to go for Greg Favell. Oh.
He's letting the teammates have a battle. He's realised he's in the fight with the classes. There you go, David. Here you go. Have a go, Nick.
Why not?
Speaking of battle.
Speaking of battles, indeed. I just noticed that on the screen. Warren McKee and Tim Nicol. It is on here in earnest. The elbows are out now. The shots are being fired. The trigger's been pulled. McKee on the outside. That's not where you want to be coming down to the end of the back straight. He's made it work, though. Tim Nicol yields. Well done. Warren McKee finds a way by. Oh, a case of what might have been for Stephen Varga in 16th and Damien Cairns in 15th. It's on again there.
The other pair of teammates.
It's not an action replay, ladies and gentlemen, but it's its own individual battle. Just 15 seconds up the road. And Cairns goes to 15th. A night to forget in many respects, but it's a nice recovery. All the same, considering that the field is 31 deep. We've had 2 retirements, Michael Ladder, Brendan Griffiths. Everybody else remains out there. Fraser's a lot down, Patton's a lot down, Newlands is a lot down. Colbranch is a lot down. Kosh and Isles go a lap down. Butler could go a lap down before he gets to the checkered flag. I think he will. And Greg Favell is half a lap from home. So, yeah, look, I made comment at the start of the night about how good it was. We were combining the splits, etc. and so forth. And yes, it meant there was more potential for us to, more cars for us to have a look at, more for us to cover. But has there been more action? Maybe not. Maybe not. It's been a very tame race by Barber standards. But at the front of it all, Greg Favell keeps doing Greg Favell things on a Monday night in Play 1 Sim Gear Super 2. Main straight, checkered flag, victory is his. A needed one in the championship fight. 2nd to Michael Hammond, 3rd to Jason Spriggs, 4th to Jaden Green. But big gaps, chunks between the top 4. Hammond was 5.5 down the road. Spriggs was another 6.6 beyond that. And here comes Lorne McKee holding off Tim Nicol for 5th. Just ahead of them, Jaden Green gets 4th. He's the best placed of the FORDs yet again. And then Sean Hart, Alan Geel, Joe Baldwin will be the winner of Super 3. And in 10th place overall, it will be Nick Fodiatis. Aaron Bryan drops down to 12th, second home in class, as David Christensen leads him across the line. And Sean van der Meulen, very well done, finishing third in class. James Boardman and Greg Spencer in behind that, and then Pete Matson sixth. Oh boy. Very well done. Very well done to particularly Jaden Green. It's always tough in a Holden-dominated field to fly the flag for the Fords. He did that. Brought it home in fourth place. Favell, Hammond, Spriggs, Green, McKee. Then Nickel, Hart, Geel, Fodiatis, and Christensen. The top 10. The Aussie racers get home 9th and 10th. The interesting thing about that is, even though Christensen was given the opportunity to go and have a crack after, go and pursue Nick, go and have a crack at tracking down that position and chasing his teammate, he wasn't able to actually capitalise on that opportunity. Good recovery from Damien Cairns and Stephen Varga, but by G, they'll be disappointed. 12th and 13th in class. Adam Proctor, 14th. We saw nothing of him tonight. Nothing after that spin earlier in the piece.
I think Proctor's issue, I don't think he qualified, so he started at the back of the back.
Yeah, well, he started from pit lane, yeah. Then Michael Fraser and Brendan Griffiths. Joe Baldwin went about his business rather quietly. We didn't see too much of Trucker. He did well to avoid that incident. He was only just ahead of that. Aaron Bryan, that was a good drive from Sean van der Meulen. James Boardman, very nice to see him just continuing to rack up those finishes. As far as his championship fight is concerned, he was the leader coming into the round, but that is a far better performance than this time last week. That's a vast improvement on that. Greg Spencer, Pete Matson, Brett Bradbury, Philip Butler, Dimitri Kolbach, and Tristan Koch, the top 10. Shane Newens, Nigel Patton, Michael Latter was a retirement. He might have been a retirement. He might have got back out there. I'm not sure. And Adam Johnson was a non-starter. It says +1 lap, but he was in pit lane last time I looked, so I don't... Oh, actually, no. Lap 9 was when he was in the pit lane, so 2:41 he was in the lane for. I'm not sure why he was in the lane that long, what happened, but the fact that he got back out there and got back into it and at least finished the race is good to see. As we say earlier, Brandon Griffiths was a retirement as well. So I think if that's right, there's just one retirement in all of that, which is quite extraordinary, given everything we know about this circuit and everything we know about this field. Because when it doubles in size, it can often bring with it a little bit of drama, a little bit of excitement, and a little bit of attrition. But thankfully, the latter was minimal tonight. Joe Baldwin's here to have a chat about his win in Super 3. Well done, Trucker. We'll get to you in just a moment. Greg Favell's in here to celebrate yet another race win, and Stephen Varga's in here for a Please Explain. We'll get to Mr. Varga and Mr. Favell in just a moment. But Trucker, well done, mate. The right decision, let's be perfectly honest, to combine the splits this week. The numbers, particularly in Super 3, justified that. It was 16 in Super 2. It was 14 or 13 starters in Super 3. So the more things change, the more they stay the same in terms of that field size. That was still there. Double the traffic, double the potential for trouble. You almost found yourself in a little bit of that. Certainly also, from a commentary standpoint, far more for us to keep our wires across, but very little in the way of door-to-door action tonight. However, you kept your nose clean. You ticked the boxes, mate. You came home with a relatively easy win in the end in what was a very competitive Super 3 race, mate. Well done.
Thank you. It certainly was, and I have to put out an apology to Brandon Griffith. We got down to the hairpin there on lap 1. I actually got a 10-second penalty for we just ran out of room, and I had to make sure I tried to thread the needle and just ever so slightly tapped him and spun him. So apologies to Brandon. I certainly didn't want that to be a lap 1 thing, but I had that 10-second. Looming over me, and I managed to just got the gap by about 2 seconds. And
easily, yes. I mean, an inch is as good as a mile in this game, and you still had it covered by 2.4 seconds over Aaron Bryan. So just talk me through that, Trucker, because obviously that incident, you've owned it, you've taken the medicine that goes with it, but in the end, it hasn't really cost you a thing. But the reality of it is that would have totally thrown your race game plan out the window and back to the drawing board when that 10-second penalty confirmation came through. So how do you go about overturning that and obviously, planning your race, mapping it out with that in mind?
Well, look, I mean, there was no doubt that a penalty was deserved. So all you can do is, tighten down the belts, take a deep breath, and just press on with it. And I was unlucky for the dude who got behind me. Sorry, I can't remember his name at the second, but him and Shane Nguyen's committee member, unfortunately, when we came out, he was right in front of me, and he picked the right and I picked the left out the hairpin. I got through clean without contact, but unfortunately those guys got together. And I think if they hadn't got tangled, it would have been a lot more difficult. Might have been a little bit faster, but I don't think I would have got the gap net at the end. So, I stepped on it at the start of the race, but Lady Luck played a bit of a role there to the end. And I actually had my two teammates, Nick Vodiatis and Dave Christensen, and the Bailey Ladders cars back there were battling with the guy I was racing with. I mean, they were going hard. I had a little bit of pace on them guys, but I think he made a bit of a slip up and Dave got by, and that sort of gave me the gap I needed then. I just had to maintain, keep the tyres under it. And I mean, look, and I just want to put out a thank you on behalf of the club as well to a guy that's in here, and he won the overall, Greg Favell, for supplying setups for the guys. I use his sets every week. Yeah, so I'm on Team Favell. Go, Greg. So, yeah, thanks for that, mate.
Thanks, mate.
Aaron Bryan's actually on his way in here to have a chat with us as well, boys. He's just jumped into the green room. Let me drag him in. Now, it's interesting that you say that, Joe, because our school of thought in the commentary box, and it was picked up by Adam Lavis, not me, just suffice to say, it was a busy afternoon. The phone didn't stop ringing, and the phone's still going tonight at my end, so I've been a little bit distracted throughout the last 25 minutes. Apologies if that's come across like as such, ladies and gentlemen, but that's okay. It happens sometimes. We're all busy people. I was going to say, with regards to Aaron's moment, Adam's observation, I'm getting my Aarons and my Adams mixed up now. Look at me go. Adam's observation was that, knowing that Aaron wasn't necessarily in the fight with David and Nick, who were in the Super 2 class, and he was Super 3, he may have just waved David through. I'll get confirmation from Aaron on that in just a moment. But in the meantime, Trucker, celebrate the W. Hopefully we'll see you back on the grid next week when we go to Long Beach. And whilst we didn't see too much in the way of drama here tonight, we were expecting it. We didn't see too much of it in terms of car-to-car contact and incident. Maybe only one or two things that race control had to really stew on. Everything else was really clean, particularly the opening lap, which we were all surprised by. We now look at Long Beach as the potential for real drama, real carnage.
Look, there's no room for error there. So if you're going to make a move at Long Beach, you've got to commit to it early and make it happen. Or it's just you're travelling through the pitch with a penalty for damage, and you kill guys around you, and people end up unhappy. So, at least a place like this, you got a bit of runoff and a bit of a safety net. You just don't have that at any of the street circuits. And Long Beach is one of the greats. I'll certainly enjoy getting around there, especially in the V8. So, looking forward to it.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. What's next for you, please?
Mugello. I'm just about going to maybe a lap of practice with all we got left, and we'll have a run at Mugello for a bit of fun.
Nice to get some confidence in the supercar, and nice to get those points on board. And it's nice too that we are still running the old 2013-14 cars that everyone seemed to like.
Yeah, look, they're a bit easier to drive, I think, than the other one, and most people have got them. They're not as, probably just not quite as edgy as what the current model cars are, but I think I've heard whispers that the Gen 3 might be on the horizon somewhere. So these will end up going back in the shed, no doubt. And the ones that are the current cars now will be the Super 3s, and we'll have the Gen 3s will be the new toys in the toy box. So we look forward to getting an update. It's probably a little bit overdue. We've had the current cars now for about 5 or 6 years. So, So looking forward to that. Should be good.
Indeed. And just having a look at how this championship looks, Trucker. You haven't been a regular here throughout the course of the season, have you? So, I mean, that brings with it another question. Nice that you're still fast enough to mix it with them in this car. You become one of those, what do I like to call them, cameo wildcard sort of regulars here, or irregulars, throwing the cat amongst the pigeons and shaking things up a little bit. You're not going to factor in the championship fight, but you can certainly shape how Super 3 might play out.
Yeah, certainly. I think I missed 3 or 4 rounds this season, so it's just work commitments. But it's a long weekend here at the moment, so I actually did maybe 3 laps today of practice, and yeah. But I just enjoy getting in and racing. Yeah, it's a good bunch of guys that race in these cars. So, but I think a couple of the guys mightn't have been here tonight, but yeah, I won't factor in the points at the end of the season, even after having a good run tonight.
And that being said, there's a good chance you may be getting promotion, because there was a lot of guys who after last week's Bathurst round moved up really high, but I sort of let it go because it's Bathurst. But this week we'll go through and make some promotions, and Joe could be on the list of joining the Super 2 ranks.
Not a bad.
Last week was mid-Ohio.
Oh, yeah, but there was something. Bathurst was recent or something. There was something recent where I waited.
Yeah. Yep.
All right, mate.
Yeah,
very nicely done.
Oh, we might be up with the big bangers for the first time next week. We'll see how we go.
My advice would be to just keep your nose clean.
Absolutely.
And you'll reap the reward accordingly. Good on you, Trucker.
Sure.
Thanks, mate. Good luck at Mugello. We'll chime in after that.
Thank you, boys.
We'll be keeping the post-race show relatively tight tonight, folks. We won't have too much time there due to a very early, less than civilised alarm for my producer and director here, Adam Lavis. Greg Favell, I'm coming to you in just a moment. I did quickly want to just cover off Super 3, if I may, with Aaron Bryan. Mate, thanks for jumping on in and having a chat to us. You needed to be mindful more so of James Boardman than Joe Baldwin. And second is good enough to just, if the drop round equation and matrix works in your favour, ever so gradually continue to chip away at that small deficit you had in the championship to Boardman coming into this round, keeping him at bay tonight. Well done.
Yeah, thanks, mate. Look, it's one of those things where I think if you keep consistent in these cars and somewhere near the pointy end, the points are going to add up. Doesn't necessarily mean you have to win every race, but as long as you're somewhere up near the pointy end, it's going to look good for you in the championship.
Indeed, it is. Now, with regards to the incident in question that we're talking about with Joe, and he seems to feel as though that might have been enough to give him the W tonight. And when you look at the mathematics, it's hard to argue with that. When you had you were Piggy in the middle there for a little bit, you had the two Super 2 boys from Bailey Ladders either side of you, the Aussie racers, Nick Fodiatis and David Christensen. What led to Christensen getting on by? Was that a little bit of sportsmanship on your part, bailing out of a fight that was not really on, considering that you're in different classes, or was it a mistake?
No, it was more the class thing. I felt that, I still had the pace to keep up with those guys, but realistically, if there was an opportunity for those guys to battle it out, it's probably better that they do that, and maybe in Super 3 just drop back a spot.
And that's the thing, isn't it? I mean, even though you're all running the same cars, this brings with it a unique sort of twist, this form of racing now, because of that distinct ability that, by the way, Adam Lavis has been able to set everything up, by the way that we've combined the two classes into one, instead of being an all-in like it is with GT3 Pro in just a few moments' time. It's class racing. It's unique to the club. We don't have this in supercar land at the moment, unless you're talking about, two Super 3 cars on the grid at Mount Panorama and a Super 2 field recently, just gate crashing. So it does change your mindset and your approach to racing. Instead of thinking about track position, you're more now mindful of class position as well.
Yep, absolutely. And, this week obviously pointed that out. I had a Super 2 guy behind me. I was already second. There was no point in me racing these guys and potentially have an off track or jump off for third to catch me. So I wanted to hold on to second, and it just made sense that those guys went ahead.
Indeed, indeed. How are you finding it so far this season, mate? I mean, obviously, we've not checked in with Super 3 all that regularly. We now get to follow you all the way to the checkered flag by virtue of the fact that we do have the all-in split, which has been a few weeks coming, of course. But how are you finding the Holden? How are you finding the racing week in, week out? Because as we know, James Boardman's consistency has gone noticed. It's been pivotal to his position in the championship. But the last couple of weeks, he's dropped off that podium, and that's allowed you, with a couple of very good results, to just slowly chip away at that gap. You might even be leading the thing tonight.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it's looking at the championship at the moment, but yeah, you're right. It's just as I said earlier, it's just being consistent and just trying to stay on track the best you can, not get tied up with too many kerfuffles, and hopefully you're at the pointy end. And last week I really enjoyed that battle. I think I ended up 5th with Joe. Was the trucker there? That was an awesome race. So the whole season's been awesome. Yeah.
Thoughts on Long Beach before I let you go?
Oh, it's a concrete jungle, isn't it? And this thing's going to be a beast around there. So just try and keep it in the middle of them, keep off those walls, and we'll see what happens.
Indeed. Very nicely done, mate. Donington Park after that, then Phillip Island. So Donington not dissimilar to Barber in terms of the wide open spaces, and Phillip Island is a track that we all know and love, and we get to go there for 45 minutes the Monday prior to Easter. Very nicely done, mate. Appreciate that. Well done. And good luck for the run to the checkered flag.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Take it easy.
There he is, Aaron Bryan. Very nicely done. Just quickly, as I jump through here and go to Greg Favell, Stephen Varga, and Nick Fodiatis, you may have noticed there that March 25 is the last Monday of the month, which means that April 1 not only doubles as the first day of April, the first Monday of April, but it's also April Fool's Day and Easter Monday. The only fools in all of that will still be Queensland, ladies and gentlemen, because we'll still be stuck an hour behind the rest of the eastern bloody seaboard. Anyway, pressing on. Stephen Varga, Greg Favella here, and Nick Fodiatis as well. I'm going to start with you, Vargs. What happened?
Got to put fuel in, ejected, put fuel in, I thought. Then realised after 4 laps I didn't put fuel in.
Right here.
So yeah, that was it. Race was cooked. But it was fun nonetheless.
Well, fun in many respects because, let's be perfectly fair here, you weren't the only one. Damien Cairns fell into the same rabbit hole trap that you did. You both pitted early because you were running qualifying fuel tanks rather than race fuel tanks. Essentially then it becomes a game of going through the motions and salvaging whatever you can for the rest of the race. Easier said than done around here, because not only were you mindful of each other's track position, but you also had to then be mindful of the Super 3 guys around you. So a little bit of a rare opportunity for you guys to work on or hone your racecraft and your overtaking work as well.
Yeah, no, for me personally, the Super 3 were good. Every time I'd stick my nose up the hairpin, they were aware that I was there and just gave that little bit extra room, which they really didn't have to. They could have just held me against the tight edge of the track if they wanted to, but no, everyone was very respectful. Yeah.
They would have been well within their rights to do that, mate, as you say. But
Yeah,
I guess it comes back to Aaron's point that if they're not in your class, don't worry about them.
Yeah, true. Most important thing is I managed to keep those bonus points, so...
Good boy.
Yep, I'm happy with that.
The bonus points make all the difference at the end of the season. However, Adam Lavis, just explain it to us. If this ends up being one of Stephen's drop rounds, the bonus points also disappear, don't they?
I've already had my drop rounds around 1 and 2 because I didn't make it.
Oh dear. So tonight really was less than ideal then, as far as your championship aspirations were concerned.
Yeah, and then the first race I did exactly the same thing I did tonight. Didn't put fuel in, and it was another messed up round. So anyway, it happens. It's all fun.
Go and grab yourself a stick note, a sticky note on the computer screen for next Monday night. Race fuel. I think that's the only piece of advice that I can offer you at this point in time. What are your thoughts on Long Beach?
That's going to be interesting.
Certainly not a racetrack where you want to make that same mistake. You want to be able to track position, and securing that in qualifying so pivotal next week, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. It's going to be a very tight circuit, and do my best not to hit any walls, but we'll just wait and see what happens.
Is there any stopping this bloody Greg Favell bloke?
No.
No, I didn't think so. I just wanted somebody else's second opinion. Stephen, bad luck, mate, but thanks for being a good sport, coming in and having a chat with us. You can go out in sympathy with Damien Cairns because he did the same thing tonight. It just goes to show that it's easy done, and all the best for whatever you can salvage over the next 3 weeks.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
And that's what we say, ladies and gentlemen, when you burn those drop rounds early, every box has got to be ticked. You've got to hit all your markers going through the rest of the campaign, and that is so difficult, so challenging to do. Nick Fodiatis and Stephen Varga, Nick Fodiatis and Greg Favell, I should say. Look up, not down on the Discord list, Zach. Greg Favell, to you, well done on a race win, mate. Another one, pivotal one as far as the championship aspirations were concerned. And finally, nailed the bloody start.
Yeah, only just. It still was a little bit slow, but it was enough to keep me in front. And then, unlucky to Vargs and Damien Cairns. Every week we're in the same Discord room and we say, make sure you put race fuel in. And tonight was the one night I forgot to say it. So,
no.
Whether it was intentional or not, we won't tell them.
No. And I don't think that should be your job, but it's nice of you in a sportsman-like way to do it. In saying
I did around one, so I make a point to say it now. So, yeah, unlucky to those guys because they would have been up there for sure.
Zach Christie telling me that we're going to see a special livery on his car tonight that might hopefully bring him some good luck. I'm already curious to see what Zach's bringing to the table when we get stuck into the GT3s in just a few moments. Before we get there, let's finish with you and then Nick as well. Actually, Nick's disappeared. Nick disappeared first, and Stephen went second. So it's just you, Greg. Apologies. I was going to go to Nick, but I'll have to come back to him a little bit later on. Well done on the race win. Barber, obviously, it's a great racetrack. It's unique because we only race supercars there in the virtual world, and it's more synonymous to Australian audiences for open wheel racing with the IndyCar race there every April or May. But obviously, a circuit that clicked with you and a circuit that you agreed with. Because you were able to pull away and take a pretty commanding win in the end, with only Michael Hammond really offering up any sort of challenge at the end there.
Yeah, I actually really like Barber, and I actually managed, I think, did a pretty good setup for this week, so it was pretty stable for the race distance. So, yeah, it was just a matter of focus and hitting your points and try not to get any off tracks. I didn't get many, but did get a couple in the end, so... Yeah.
All right, very nicely done. I was going to ask Nick about his moment coming into pit lane that crunched the front end of the car, but I'll do that at another time. While we've got you, mates, as far as the championship's concerned, I know Adam Lavis will be crunching the points as we speak. But that was, you didn't have too much in the way of breathing space on the competition, so important to notch up the W's. That's another one. Now drop rounds come into the equation. I'm not sure whether that's going to extend your buffer or not, but it still means the job's not yet done. You can't celebrate with the victory donuts too heavily just yet. Got to get through Long Beach and Donington and then maybe have enough up your sleeve before we go to Phillip Island. But what are your thoughts on the run to the checkered flag and the competition around you, mate? Are they? Is it that you're maintaining your gap or extending it, or are they slowly but surely managing to reel you in here? Because that was, as I say, it wasn't a big race win from you tonight, but it was enough to get the job done.
No, a track like this, you don't want to push for the whole stint. So once I got that gap, I just maintained that gap. And I needed a little bit of a gap because I knew lap cars may have cost a bit of time, which unfortunately a couple of them did at the end there. I don't know if they realised there was blue flags because we were still racing for position. So, yeah, and with work at the moment, I don't know if I'm going to make every round. I was meant to miss tonight, so...
Well, yeah, I was going to say, everybody was sort of re-energised last week in the nicest possible way, because the absence of Greg Favell means that, theoretically speaking, the race is no longer for second, it's for first. And I say that a little bit facetiously because it's kind of like when Denchi rocks up to GT3, everyone thinks, oh, God, we're racing for second. Same thing here. Your stats, your record speaks for itself and backs up the statement. But obviously, work commitments can't be helped. That, pays the bills, keeps the roof over the head, allows you to have the sim rig. You must be hoping, though, that the schedule will play fair for you and you can at least come here for 2 of those 3 rounds at best.
Yeah, I fingers crossed I'll make at least 2 of them. Hopefully all 3, because I really like Long Beach and I like actually all the tracks coming up. So, yeah, fingers crossed that I can make them. But if I don't, I've got 2 drop rounds, so I think I can spare 1 more.
I think you can spare 1 more, considering last week was the first one, DNR.
Yep.
First to third, a first to first, a first to first for the 6 races that you've contested thus far. I think you can spare a drop round. I think you'll be right.
A couple of guys, like Jason Spriggs, when he's only just coming back into the seat, so he's really quick in these things. And Damien Cairns has been quick, so...
He has. That was a little bit of a blip in the road, wasn't it? It happens, but at least Stephen Varga was nice enough to go out in sympathy with him. Otherwise, he would have felt more angst and animosity towards his own mistake. It's okay when you got company, though. It's not as frustrating. But for those guys, that now makes the next 3 weeks pretty tough for them as far as their points hauls are concerned.
Yep. Well, I think Damien, he had a bit of a buffer there in second place, so as long as he can finish strong, he should still get a top 3 finish, hopefully, in the championship. And yeah, there's a few guys there, like Mickey, he's quick tonight. You got Jaden Green, Tim Nicol got a win last week, so
yes, yeah,
a few guys still in the hunt, and hopefully get a bit quicker, and we can all battle it out the last few rounds.
All right, very nicely done, mate. We'll let you go at this point. Congratulations again, and all the best for the run to the checkered flag, and hopefully, as you say, we'll see you on grid for at least 2 of the 3.
Yep, excellent. Thanks, guys. Have a good night.
Greg Favell, race winner again in Super 2. Joe Baldwin getting the job done in Super 3. A break on the platforms of the Gentlemen's Sim Racing Club, made possible, of course, across Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube, with thanks to Waste Options, Sprayton Ciders, Player One Sim Gear, Lobesy Racing, M-Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics. It is Monday night motorsport. It's night 1 of week 7 of term 1 in 2024. We ramp it up a notch on the other side of this with the sprint race for round 7 of Waste Options GT3 and before the feature race for Waste Options GT3 Pro. Sprint double from Mugello in Italy. We're excited about that. Hope you'll enjoy it as much as we'll enjoy bringing it to you. It continues on the other side of this short break. Stick around. No worries. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. The continuation of our Monday Night Motorsport doubleheader, Week 7 of Term 1 for 2024. And we head from the scenic splendor of Birmingham, Alabama, to one of the newest circuits to be loaded into the iRacing server, Mugello circuit in Italy. More famous, of course, for the Italian round of MotoGP each year. Tonight, it's hosting its first round of Waste Options GT3, and it's sprint racing. So it's double delight for those of you tuning in at home, because we're going to have not just the 20-minute opening installment of GT3 AM coming your way in a matter of seconds here, but we're also going to bring you the opening in the feature race later on tonight over 37 minutes for Waste Options GT3 Pro. I'm Zach Caban. Adam Lavis is here alongside me. There's the circuit for you. It's a little over 5 kilometres. We're at 1 o'clock in the afternoon server time. 19 degrees the ambient, 34 on track. And I can't quite pick out whether that's... I think it's 10 kilometre an hour winds showing there on your screen at the moment. There's a couple of other little bits of information blocked by the comment there as well. Let's have a look at the championship standings coming into this round and then quickly to the grid. Phil Butler on top, 201. Scott Wooden, 190. William Yarwood, 160. And Adam Chiplin, 157. And then back to Chris McDonald in 5th place on 151 points. 4 different manufacturers in the top 5. 6 in the top 10 with the presence of Porsche in... 4 in the top 10 with the presence of Porsche in 6th and 7th through Lavender and also Piper. 201 plays 190, so 11 points covers the top 2 at the moment, meaning every race from here and every opportunity to snag points is crucial and vital. Front row of the grid tonight sees Tom Williams alongside Brian Bullock, and then David Bernays and Scott Wooden from the second row, Ben Lavender and James Frencone the third, Adam Hennessy and William Yarwood back on the grid after he's round the World Mad Dash to Adelaide and back in the fourth row of the grid. Fifth row is Joe Baldwin and Adam Chiplin. Sixth row, hello Dave Dench. Yes, we'll have the pro split for you a little bit later on, mate. Hope you'll enjoy this AM race in the meantime. Philip Butler and Bradley Curtin from 6, Neil Gladwin and Daniel Piper from 7. Then we go back to Bobby Camo and Philip Clark from 8, Nick Fodiatis and Brett Bradbury from 9, Chris McDonald and Christian Koch from 10. Now, that's interesting because we know how far up the order McDonald is in the championship at the moment, but that is well down on where he'd like to be. Robert McGrath and Adam Johnson from the back of the grid. Adam Johnson and Bobby Camo actually have not even joined the grid, it would appear. And Michael Latter was due to start on the 12th row of the grid at the very back of the field. He's now the beneficiary of the absence of Camo and Johnson up 2 spots. Whether they start from pit lane on the jacks and join once we get going, or whether they've just upped and outed of the server, we'll wait and see. GT3 Pro still to come. Same procedure as always, ladies and gentlemen. 21 and 37-minute races here for you. And then, of course, the top 10 of race 1 in both splits will be inverted for race 2 on the starting grid. And, of course, for AM, there's one fast repair, I do believe, but for Pro, there is not. So if you bite the dust here in Pro tonight, it could well be curtains. Safety car brings the field onto the main straight. Any tick of the clock now will have a rolling start for you. For the first time in GSRC history, we take the Waste Options GT3 Championship to one of the great tracks in world motorsport, the Mugello circuit in Italy. Tom Williams has control of the field. When he hits the gas, we get going. Let's go. Great start from Williams. Beats Bullock off the line. Bernays is third and Wooden leads them up the hill for the first time in 4th place. A little bit of a gap back to the rest of the pack. Ben Lavender trying to go with Wooden to turn 1. Wooden going deep, trying to go around the outside of Bernays. Have a look at that from Scott Wooden. Can't get it done. Tom Williams has bolted. Absolutely taken off. So out in this field tonight as we watch them sort themselves out. Oh, trouble. Well caught by Baldwin. But there was trouble. He did well to catch it too, because that would have been a knock-on effect that would have ruined a few races had he not been able to do so. It would have blocked the track. Bobby Camo has joined the race from pit lane. Adam Johnson has not. BMW, Mercedes, Ferrari, Lamborghini, Porsche. Ford through Nick Fodiatis in 12th place. So the 6 different manufacturers out there on the circuit tonight. Whoa! 7 with Audi. So we're only missing McLaren by my numbers tonight in GT3 AM. Look at the carnage on the opening lap. William Yarwood's been gobbled up, down a bunch of spots. 7, in fact, down to 15th place. Trouble in the early stages for him. Pressure mounting. Fodiatis out there in the Ford GT, already up 6 spots to 11th. The beneficiary is Samarji on the opening. Oh, my screen's just frozen up on me. I apologise, folks. There it is. Trouble. Yep. Baldwin caught up. Oh dear. Might have to try and get a replay of that one a little bit later on in the meantime. We apologise for any technical difficulties that might be creeping across your screen there, ladies and gentlemen. I'm assuming that something's happened at Adam Lavis' end that needs his instant, urgent attention. At the moment, we've got Joe Baldwin there on screen, getting back into the race after dropping down to 20th position. Bobby Camo down to 21st. Chris McDonald's on pit lane after being caught up in that incident as well. And that was always the risk that McDonald ran, being that far down the order on the opening lap after I'm not sure whether it was a poor run in qualifying or just that he couldn't get the car set up right. Not sure what contributed to McDonald being that far down the order, but it's already proven costly. Williams, Bullock, then Bernays and Wooden, then Love into the top 5. Porsche 1 and 5, Audi 2 and 4, Ferrari 3, 6, 7 and 8, Mercedes 9 and 10. 4 different manufacturers in the 10 at the moment, none of them BMW or Ford or Lambo. So we've got 7 manufacturers represented in the field out there tonight. To the end of the second lap we go. And now we are flying blind a little bit here, ladies and gentlemen, because the timing screen's disappeared at my end now as well. And just as I acknowledge that, it's come back. So bear with us. We'll get the graphics and everything else back up on the screen ASAP, ladies and gentlemen. But for the moment, we pick up one of the Mercs further down the order. Towards the back of the field, they come back onto the main straight. Neil Gladwin is who we're following or riding with at the moment. He's chasing Philip Butler. He's got Bradley Curtin behind him. Drag race here. Overtaking opportunities, there are plenty of them around this circuit, but setting them up is one thing. Executing them's another. And that's really good from Neil Gladwin to keep Bradley Curtin at bay so far. Tom Williams leads. His lead is 1.5 seconds. And this is where our attention lies at the moment. The 21. The Porsche down the inside. It's Waste Options GT3 for you from Mugello. Up over the rise and down. Into the right-hander. Ben Lavender. Adam Hennessy. James Francone. Philip Butler. Neil Gladwin. Bradley Curtin and Daniel Piper. A 3-way fight for 5th place. A 4-way fight for 8th. It's all happening. .148.515, the fastest lap of the race. So it is a long lap. That's important to note too. It's a long lap around here. So on those numbers, you're only shaving 12 seconds off 2 minutes per lap. We're coming up to the end of lap 3, 5.5 minutes gone. And Nick Fodiatis is now off the track as well. Fodiatis in the Ford is off the road. At a moment coming up towards the second last corner, or out of the second last corner, I should say. And Fodiatis has dropped down to position number 18 now in the Aussie Racers Ford GT. Now, it's interesting too, Tom Williams and Brian Bullock have disappeared. Bullock and Bernays second and third. Scott Wood and Ben Lavender, Adam Hennessy was the battle we were watching a moment ago. Francone, Butler, Gladwin and Curtin back there in 10th place. Daniel Piper's 11th. Philip Clark, William Yarwood and Adam Chiplin with Robert McGrath 15th. 148.36 a lap time here. So you're taking 12 seconds off per lap. So every 5 laps is a minute back in the kitty, essentially, ladies and gentlemen. So on those numbers, with 5 laps every 9 minutes, you're looking at a 12-lap race here, no change. A little bit of overtime, in fact, attached to that, if I'm right. If my numbers are right, about half a minute's worth of overtime for 16 for this opening instalment over 21 minutes. The Mugello circuit, which should make the numbers easy enough to work out for the second race, because with a pit lane transit required, that should be around nice even 20 for the second race. But Adam Lavis can correct me if I'm wrong. 4 laps every 9 minutes, and it's a 37-minute service. So I think that won't be too far off the mark. And it's a long pit lane here too, down the main straight. Williams, Bullock, Bernays, then Wooden, Lavender and Hennessy. Francone is 7th, then Butler, Gladwin and Curtin. No real change in the last couple of laps. Butler up 3 spots. Gladwin 4. Curtin has just got by Gladwin. We are watching there on screen at the moment, of course, James Francone in the number 11 Ferrari, 7th place. Uh-oh, trouble. Bradley Curtin. No sooner than we were talking about him being in a battle with Neil Gladwin. He's lit the rear end up and he's ended up in the wall. And he's got company too. Tristan Koch has found the dirt at turn 1. Curtin's parked up, and I don't think that car's going anywhere, just quietly. Oh, he may have got back going. I'll suss that out in a moment. In the meantime, Joe Baldwin's down in 20th position. Chris McDonald's parked up out. Chris McDonald's a lap down, and as is Michael Lattis. So even though those guys are showing in blue on my timing screen, they are still ticking over. So they have got back out there. They have got back going. It's a long way home from there, though. And unfortunately for McDonald, again, if you're just joining us and you're wondering what's happened to your comments, to the graphics, etc. and so forth, the reason I'm flying solo at the moment, just doing my best, is because Adam Lavis is feverishly working away at whatever's happened in the background there. You all saw it have a chuck a wobbly, spit out the bathwater and then some a few moments ago. So just bear with us whilst we work away at that, remembering that at the end of this AM split race, we'll take you to the Pro Split server from the same circuit and their second race, their 37-minute affair. Already a few of you tuning in with an eagle eye of anticipation towards that one. Williams, Bullock, Bernays, then Wooden, Lavender, Hennessy, Francone, Bartlett, Gladwin, Piper, the top 10. Oh, boy. Yeah. If you're just joining us, McDonald had a shocker of a qualifying down in 19th spot. That's one of those characters that you would have looked at. Whoa, more trouble. Off the road, behind play. We're watching Neil Gladwin. I didn't catch who it was that went around. It might have been William Yarwood. No, it's Chris McDonald again. McDonald's a lap down. And he might just park up on that notion. I would if I was him. I would have had a gutful by this point. It's not going to... His starting spot for the next race is not going to improve. He's going to be on the 11th row. He's going to be alongside Michael Ladder. They're both a lap down. They're out of business. For me... McDonald was one of those characters that I would have looked at to try and make inroads in this opening race. Hit your markers, maybe gain some territory, maybe potentially set yourself up for the invert situation. finish in 10th place, and then get catapulted towards the front of the field, and then make hay while the sun shines. Dave Riddell, we've got your comment back through on screen. That's the first comment we've seen in a while. Thank you, mate. Nice to have you on board. But yeah, unfortunately for McDonald, it went from bad to worse. Neil Gladwin, under pressure from Daniel Piper. They're following Philip Butler down the main straight. Another lap in the books. And a full one at that. Williams controlling this race quite nicely. 1.5 the margin. 0.8 back to Bernays from Bullock. 3 different manufacturers in the 3. Look at that. That's a nice move on the inside from Daniel Piper. Displaces Neil Gladwin. Porsche on Mercedes. Well done. Philip Clark, William Yarwood, Adam Chiplin, then Robert McGrath and Nick Fodiatis make up the top 15. That is a not too bad recovery from Nick, I might admit, as well. So this is Piper now chasing out after Butler on the back of getting by Gladwin. This is a guy on a charge at the moment. Started outside the top 10, started 14th, has got himself up into 9th. So now very much in the invert field. Gladwin needs to keep Philip Clark at bay, or otherwise he'll lose the benefits of the invert. He'll be on the wrong side of it. At the moment, Philip Clark is the unlucky one on the precipice there in 11th. Some big names have fallen out of the top 10. William Yarwood started 8th. He's now 13th. Adam Chiplin was 10th, now sits 12th. Yes. Quantum Motorsport. Hello, Aiden. Nice to have you on board, mate. Looking forward to having you back in there as well. We go down to turn 1. We're with Daniel Piper. Joe Baldwin down 11 spots. Did start 9th. So the demise of those 3 men has been to the benefit of a few people that started behind them on the grid. Qualifying's one thing, the race is another. We've said it so many times. We're 13 3/4 minutes of the way through. You do have vision. You do have a well-trained radio commentator that is going back to school in some respects tonight, feeding you that information that would normally be there, that we take advantage of far too often on your screen, that you would normally be seeing free of charge and be able to make sense of everything yourself. But right now, yes, communication is key. Luckily, I get paid to talk. We'll do our level best. This battle is magnificent. So is this battle. Brian Bullock and David Bernays. Great to see Bernays there in 3rd place. 1, 2, 3, 4 remain exactly where they started. No movement in the top 4. It's everywhere else beyond that where the shuffling has been done, and I mean that in every sense of the word. 22 starters. We've got 22 still on the racetrack. That's a good thing, as they come back down the main straight to complete another lap. You're watching Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club from the Mugello circuit in Italy. It's Williams, it's Bullock, it's Bernays. Bernays keeping Bullock honest. 3 different manufacturers in the top 3. Porsche leads, Audi leads, Ferrari. Then Hennessy, Lavender, Frencone, Butler and Piper through to the top 9, and Gladwin is 10th. Thank goodness SDK Gaming live timing is working at my end, ladies and gentlemen. Otherwise, this would be a silent broadcast, because I would have been up the creek without a paddle without that information in front of me. It's not like when you're at a racetrack and if you lose a TV screen or a timing screen, you've got the written race entry list in front of you and you can make it up as you go along. Everything here is digitised. Williams, Bullock, Bernays, Hennessy, Lavender, Francone, Butler, Piper, and Gladwin, the top 10. Clark is 11th. Chiplin, Yarwood, McGrath, and Fodiatis. So the top 10 are going to be inverted, but thankfully this is, unlike recent sprint rounds in other categories, this is a circuit where overtaking opportunities will present themselves quite freely, quite readily, and regularly. Looking forward to seeing how the second race plays out. We will bring you the pro split for the second race, ladies and gentlemen, hopefully by which point our graphics have been restored, but I'm not holding my breath at the moment. Whatever's happened at Adam Lavis's end is a biggie. Thankfully, our sponsors are still A, supporting the club, and B, scrolling across the top of your screen there, fading in and out. We wouldn't be able to do any of this without any of them in the first place. Even the club logo's disappeared for the moment, but we'll get back to that. Down to turn one. The battle continues. It's Brian Bullock holding off David Bernays. And all of this jostling between this pair has allowed Tom Williams to give himself a comfortable buffer. 2.4 seconds. He's worked away at that. He's chipped away. And now he's looking good in this opening race, which is 4 minutes from seeing the checkered flag. So this one and 2 to go. This lap and 2 to go. Oh, here we go. Move on the inside. Bernays on Bullock. Bernays on Bullock. Well played, Brian Bullock. Just left the door wide open. Let him go. Didn't force the issue. Didn't fight it. Bernays to second. The pace of the man that's posted the fastest lap of the race thus far, 1:48.203. On show for all to see there. Bullock will get the slipstream if he stays where he is for the next run down the main straight. But the shots have been fired. The trigger has been pulled. This battle has ignited. And at this point in time, I'm happy to report that you're seeing the same pictures I am, ladies and gentlemen, and we are back to normal programming. What a relief that is, I'm not going to lie. 2 positions gained for Adam Hennessy, 6 for Daniel Piper, and 4 for Neil Gladwin, the best of the night thus far. 5 for Philip Clark as well. 7 for Robert McGrath, is the most of anyone on the circuit, it's important to note. He started down in 21st place. So a couple of drivers out there have gone 0 in the early stages of this one, but now it's, played out rather processionally, if I can say that, until that move from Bernays on Bullock. Adam Lavis is back with us in central commentary. Thankfully. 18.5 minutes gone, 2.5 to go. 2 laps to go for Tom Williams. And the Porsche pilots led from the front. Hasn't looked challenged. That move, Bernays on Bullock, was the first time any position has changed in the top 4 in this race. And we have 2 minutes to go. White flag in the air, provided Barney's doing his job. Next time by the line. Oh, round goes Nick Fodiatis. That's a replay. That was the earlier incident I think I was talking about.
That's just now.
That is just now. Hello, Adam Lavis. Nice to have you back.
It would have been an earlier one where he's lost his wing, so that's probably what caused that.
Copy. Yep, downforce. Actually, I must admit I was playing F1 23 on the PS5 earlier today, and as soon as it said I had rear diffuser, rear wing damage, I was like, yeah, I'll just reset. I'll restart. Forget about it. 19.5 minutes gone. Bernays has built a buffer over Bullock. The gap Scott Wooden, who is at the top of your screen there. White flag in the air. Tom Williams is on his way home. A minute to go on the Mugello circuit. What a race this has been for Tom Williams. It's been a great result for Brian Bullock and David Bernays as well. That battle's still going, but Bernays has extended it out to a 0.7 buffer. Good stuff. Uh-oh. Brett Bradbury, the first retirement of the race. I would hazard a guess here. You're still, actually, the good thing for Brett, what works in his favour here... Oh, jeez. He got collected on the way through.
It's Tristan Kosh, I believe.
That car was all over the place. Tristan Kosh is the one that's got into him. Kosh has dropped down to 18th. behind Bobby Camo. We'll have another look at that if we can very shortly. Christian Koch with Bradbury squirrely all over the shop. Had absolutely... There was nothing he could have done. Nowhere to go, unfortunately. So Fodiato's up to 16th despite the early setback. Brett Bradbury has, I think, hit the eject button. I think Bradbury's done for the night, although someone should tell him that there's still 37 minutes to go. He's got another race ahead of him yet. But maybe frustration has led to his withdrawal. The white flag's in the air. The last lap board is out. This guy's on his way home. His name is Tom Williams. He's done a magnificent job. Led from start to finish. Barely looked challenged. Brian Bullock has been gapped by David Bernays. So it's a 2-second advantage. Tom Williams to David Bernays. Another second back to Brian Bullock. It is Tom Williams getting the job done for Porsche at the Mugello circuit in race 1 of round 7. Waste Options GT3 AM. Well done. Second to Bernays, third to Bullock. Big gaps back to Wooden, Hennessy, and Lavender, who's going to hold off Francone and Piper. Line astern across the line. Across the strike. Piper, Gladwin, Butler, 8, 9, and 10. Then we go back to Clark, Chiplin, Yarwood, McGrath, and Curtin. See, Bradley Curtin's another one, down 3 spots. But you'd normally associate him with a place inside the top 10. So, a few disappointing results for a few drivers in all of that. But to start with 22 and get home with 21 is not bad, considering it was a rare unknown commodity coming to this circuit tonight for GT3. But if the pros are as entertaining as the AMs, I don't think anyone goes home disappointed tonight. Let's have a look at the results one more time for you. Williams, Bernays, Bullock, Wooden, Hennessy, Lavender, Francone, Piper, Gladwin, and Butler. 4 Ferraris, 3 Porsches, 2 Audis, and a Merc in the top 10. 2 BMWs outside, 12th and 13th. Adam Chiplin and William Yarwood just ahead of them. In 11th was Adam Clark. 14th was Robert McGrath, Bradley Curtin, Nick Fodiatis, Bobby Camo, Christian Koch, Joe Baldwin, and Chris McDonald, with Michael Ladder and Brett Bradbury making up the field. Well done, Tom Williams. Celebrate in style, son. That was good stuff. He won't get the chance to. The service kicked him out. There you go. Williams from Bernays, Bullock, Wooden, and Hennessy, the top 5. That's all you need to know. What you will need to know now is that we're going to do a server switch. We're going to take a quick break. We're going to jump out of GT3 and jump into GT3 Pro. Their first race still running. We'll bring you the results from that very shortly. We'll bring you the results from the second one here later on tonight as well. We've ticked off the 21-minute race. We've got the 37-minute feature still to come, but it's going to be the big boys, the top end of town, plying their trade and entertaining you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club for that feature race of round 7 of the championship in 2023's opening term. 2024's opening term, I should say. We're going to take a break on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club and come back with the main course in just a moment. The continuation of Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club for you, wherever you're tuning in all around Australia or indeed the world across Facebook, Twitch and YouTube. It is night 1 of week 7 in term 1 of 2024, and it is the Mugello circuit in Italy playing host to a split double for you as we bring you part 1 of GT3M and part 2 of GT3 Pro in Waste Options GT3. 7th round of the championship. As far as the championship rounds are concerned, I mean, let's have a look at what's to come and remind you that this is the penultimate sprint round of the season. We go sprint racing again next week from Motorland Aragon. I won't be here for Hockenheim and then off to Spa for 90 minutes. It'll be an absolute pearler, there's no doubt about that. 90 minutes around Spa. It's been a while since we've done that. But looking forward to it immensely on the 25th of March. Let's have a look at the championship standings in Waste Options GT3 coming into this round, and then we'll have a look at qualifying in the race as well. Time's going to get the better of us here because cars will be lining up on the grid in just a moment. But Matty Dench on top of the championship, 379 played. John Merritt, 276. Jared Knight, 218. Richard Mitchum, 212. And Tom Martin on 187 points. Beyond that, Jonathan Hooper, Paul Rogers, Ash Collins, Aidan Luthwaite and Greg Heaney made up the top 10 coming into this round. Qualifying saw in GT3 Pro, if we've got that information, sorry Adam to put you on the spot. We've got the results coming in now from GT3 Pro. From qualifying, Benny Woods pipping Richard Mitchum, Aaron Cooper and Matt Dench for pole position. Wow. How good's that? Jake Jackson, Ash Collins, Trent Allen, Michael Edwards, David Baz. And on the back of that, it was Thomas Foster making up the top 10. Let's have a look at the results from race 1 very quickly. Ben Woods has got himself a W by virtue of the fact that he's sitting 10th on the grid for this next race. Matty Dench was only 1.774 seconds down the road. Richard Mitchum beyond that. Ash Collins, Trent Allen, Jake Jackson, Aaron Cooper, David Baz, Thomas Foster, and Chook Fung Wong will lead the field to green this time round. That's the top 10. That's how it looks, ladies and gentlemen. Relatively clean race and a fairly spread out field as well, if you don't mind me saying so. Server has moved to 4:01 Eastern European winter time, European Standard Time in the afternoon there. They are, this point in time, 10 hours behind Australian Eastern Daylight Time. And we can tell you that it's Chook Fung Wong and Thomas Foster on the front row of the grid. David Baz, Aaron Cooper the second, Jake Jackson, Trent Allen on the third, Ash Collins, Richard Mitchum the fourth, Matty Dencham, Benny Woods the fifth. 16:02 circuit time, March 4, 2024. It is 61% humidity, 19 degrees ambient, 21 on track. Jonathan Hooper, Jared Knight from the 6th row, Braden O'Loughlin, Greg Heaney the 7th, and Michael Edwards, Paul Wood the 8th, David Christensen, Tim Fuge the 9th, Sean Benici and Zach Christie the 10th. We need to have a look at Christie's livery in just a moment. Sean Benici is 19th on that grid, which means that Dale Sharp and Fred Kahn are the only two cars on the 11th and final row of this grid. So not a lot of love for Mugello just yet, Adam Lavis. The number's relatively low compared to last week.
It's one of those things with the new tracks in the service. They take a little while to come through.
Indeed, they do. All right, so it's an all BMW front row. As far as manufacturer representation in this field is concerned, BMW, Ferrari, Porsche, Audi, and that's it. No Lambo, no Merc, no McLaren, no Ford. We had 7 manufacturers in the other split. 4 in this one. The BMW, Porsche, Audi, Ferrari Cup, the European Cup of GT3 racing. How good's this? Dale Sharp, the last of the BMWs in the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 BMWs in the field. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Porsches. There are just 2 Ferraris and 1 Audi. So it is the BMW and Porsche Cup with a couple of ring-in gate crashes. Chook Fung Wong. I think this might be one of the first times he's ever brought the field to green in GT3 Pro. Chook Fung Wong brings the field to green. Thomas Foster will go with him. Watch for the start. Here we go. Lights out. Racing now. Foot to the floor. Fung Wong. Baz. Baz has got a great jump. Baz tucked into the slipstream. Pushed Fung Wong through. Got by Foster on the run down to turn 1. Whoa, 3 wide behind that. Keep an eye on it. It's a log jam through the opening corner. good, clean start. Whoa, no, trouble. Off goes Foster. Got help from Baz. Bang! Uh-oh. It was brewing. As soon as we saw the contact, the track is jammed. It was Baz on Foster, and Foster has set off a chain reaction. Race control letting it go green for the moment. I wouldn't be surprised if they considered the caution. Just so all those guys could sort themselves out. And I hate to say it, but one of the cars implemented in and caught up in all of that was the race one winner, Benny Woods. He's on the tow rope. He's in pit lane. A hero to zero moment. And yet again, M. Dench avoids the carnage. Down 2 spots. Up 2 spots in 7th place. Braden O'Loughlin up 5. Tim Fuge and Fred Kahn 9 and 12 positions gained respectively. Zach Christie's up 9 as well. Have a look at this. An early race crash in an invert situation changes everything. Let's have a look at that livery of Christie's too, if you don't mind. Let's see what he's got on the... Oh, very nice. Green and gold, I like it.
The Grello.
Sorry?
I think they call it the Grello colour.
Yes. Yes. And of course...
Baz.
Oh, here we go. David Baz making a charge, making a run for the lead. Will it be temporary, though? Caution. Safety car. Safety car boards and flags. Maybe a little bit late, but the safety car has been called by race control. This field is neutralised, and therefore, there goes your 20 laps, ladies and gentlemen. We won't be getting there. RIP, full race distance. Let's mourn that one now. Rip it up and move on. So, just to go back to what Adam Lavis was saying, firstly, let's have a look at the incident contact Foster and Baz. Oh, no. I'll tell you what, I think, as much as I hate to say it, I dare say Baz has got an invoice coming. And the rest of it, I think, will be put down as a racing incident because Foster, well, let's have a look at it again. And let's have a look at Jared Knight. Bang. Oh, God. Knighty's love-hate relationship with GT3 racing either on a Monday or a Thursday continues. So there's 2 things here that are well worth noting, right? Actually, there's a fair bit to pick apart, let's be honest. Let's have a look at Denchi riding his luck in the Bimmer. And there goes his... oh, jeez. How lucky did he get? There goes his clean race for the dirt that he's kicked up. But millimetres in that. Like, was it Benny Woods spinning in front of him, or was it somebody else? Was it Foster? It was Foster.
That's Ben Woods.
And, it is Woods. Yeah. And there goes Dench on the inside. Bang. So, wow. How lucky can you be if your name is M. Dench? Ben Woods on the tow rope. Jared Knight on the tow rope. Michael Edwards on the tow rope. And Thomas Foster.
Oh, Dave got a little tap. He had the right line, got a little tap at the end there, which put him into the incident.
Yep. So, when we have another look at it, if we can have another look at it from Thomas Foster, because, like, he was part gone, and then put the boot into it, and that fired him back out onto the racetrack. Race control may well look at that one.
I don't think he put the boot into it. I think it's because he's got the brakes on. Brakes are on, and it's still ABS doesn't let the car stop. So.
Yeah, righto. So in other words, it'll be Baz that wears it for the contact that set off the chain reaction, but Foster, there was nothing he could do coming onto the racetrack like that.
I'm still curious about that because I'm wondering if.
Let's have a look. Here it is again.
Did Foster leave enough room inside? I think it's a little bit netcode there too. He's just sort of chopped across the front of Baz a little bit. It could be it's down to a racing incident almost. So
it could be.
Yep. I think it's Hendo in there at the moment.
And that might be why they've thrown the safety car, and that might be why. That might be why they're throwing the safety car, just as caution is a better part of valor. And give everybody the chance to get back into it. But here's the other problem, Adam. Here is the main problem as we start lap 3 at 20. these guys don't have a fast repair. They're literally stuck on pit lane.
Why are they so far behind the safety car?
Well, that's up to Chuk Fung Wong. So Fung Wong's the race leader, and maybe race control needs to get a memo into his ear to say that the safety car's a fair bit up the road just yet, mate. You need to hit the gas and get going for a little bit. Or, so there's two things here, right? So I can understand why race control is throwing the safety car, because that took out a lot of people. It doesn't help those people because they don't have a fast repair to lean upon to get back out into the race. But then it does give race control a little bit of time to sift through the footage, pick things apart, sort things out, and press on. But here's the other thing. Now, how much fuel savings going on? Are any of these guys up to their usual tricks, playing the game, thinking, well, the longer these laps go, and that last one was 3 minutes 11, and the next one will most likely be the same, and the one after that, if we go around 3 times. Let's have a look. Are the safety car lights still on? Can we have a look at that at this point? If the safety car lights are still on, we're going around again. In which case, that'll shave another 3 minutes off the clock. That's 9 minutes of limited running. Oh, that's a sad sight for Benny Woods, from hero to zero. There's the safety car. They've caught the safety car. That's the first bit of good news. Second bit of good news is the lights are still on. So they will go round, I'd say, again. So that's lap 2, lap 3, lap 4 wiped out by the caution. That'll most likely mean that we lose a lap, maybe a little bit more, off the scheduled race distance of 20. We might lose 2 laps if they keep going this slowly. Might be like Suzuka all over again. But because race times are about a minute and a quarter up the road. Oh, actually, it's a little bit more than a minute and a quarter up the road from where they were on that second lap. Jesse, that might be the comment of the night so far. I can't even spell my teammate's name right. So that's the interesting thing for mine. If we have a look at what's going on here, if we do go 18 laps, and we've been able to save fuel by not going full tilt, is it all of a sudden a possibility to do this without a stop? And if anyone's going to test the theory, it'll be the one and the only M. Dench. I reckon Mitchum might go with him punch for punch on that. We're talking about Zach Christie's livery as well. It's a beauty. Of course, it's a little bit different to his usual livery, but it's a hark back to Matty Campbell's success, obviously, in the 12-hour. Only, can you believe it was only a fortnight ago? A lot's gone on last fortnight. It's been relentlessly busy, but yes, the 12 hour was only a fortnight ago.
And the unfortunate thing, see, some of these guys are doing. These guys, a couple of these guys are pitting now because I know the train's only so long, and they're going to be able to go full tilt here.
That's right. So that's actually really good race gamesmanship, racecraft planning on their part, tactically, strategically speaking, to get in now. Richard Mitchum's gone in. Jake Jackson's gone in. Ash Collins has gone in. Paul Wood's still on pit lane as well. So, and Trent Allen's in. So all those guys are in. They're on the tow rope. They're on the lane. Well, they're in their box.
The guys from the crash, the thing is, it's pro split sprint round, so there's no fast repairs.
That's
for those
right.
guys.
So Knight, Woods, Edwards, Foster. The longer this caution goes, provided depending upon how much
lights are out.
How the lights are out this time by, so we'll go back to green this time by. That last lap around was 3 minutes 40, so there's another full lap off the clock. I'm going to have to really do my numbers well here to have a look at where we're going time wise with this race, as far as how many laps we've lost and how many laps we're going to have.
What is with iRacing putting safety cars with only 70 kilometre speed limit on? What is that?
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You and I are in full agreement on that. So yeah, we've basically gone. We've got Jared Knight and Joe Baldwin in the booth with us, and we'll have a chat to them in just a tick. I think we're gonna have a little bit more time to have a chat with Knighty than he'd like us to on a Monday night.
What's Joe doing here? His races should be still going on.
That's a very good question as well. Let me get to them in just a tick. I just want to pick this apart because Knight, Woods, Edwards, Foster all on the lane. If by any small margin of a miracle they have Tom Foster, that hurt my wrist. That's how bad the impact was for him. Let's ride with 90 and get his take of the incident here. Basically, had nowhere to go. That was horrible to watch. Okay, I'm going to come back to all the statistical, numerical stuff in just a moment. The reality of the matter is those guys in pit lane at the moment that have been since lap 1, they haven't got a fast repair, but if they can get out and finish 75% of the scheduled distance or the distance of the race leader, which at the moment remains Chuk Fung Wong, then they can still be classified. 90, I'm going to start with you on that note. How bad is the repair bill? Are you going to be able to get back out there?
I can get back out there, but yeah, it's whether I want to or not.
So unfortunate, mate. It's a blind spot. You've driven straight out of the right-hander and into it. You had nowhere to go.
Yeah, pretty much. It's what happens when you put yourself that far back in the queue, and you're more likely to get tangled up in the mess. But I mean, yeah, my comments last week sort of held true. I've got no idea about this track, no idea how to put all that together. Yeah, so it was just learning as we go, and yeah, it's just unfortunate. Yeah, I said Denchi's got all the luck. He was right next to me.
Yeah, absolutely he was. We will have another look at that a little bit later on, I'm sure. I don't know what Hendo's going to do with regards to the incident first place, whether it's going to be deemed a racing incident or whether there's going to be some fault laid in David Baz's direction because of his involvement. There was a bit of net code, so I don't envy Endo in the slightest. But let's have a look at this again for Denchi and just see how lucky he got. There's the spinning car coming back onto the racetrack. Oh, so the contact that came from you and Benny Woods into Tommy Foster, you've pirouetted in 3 different directions, and Foster's gone back in Dench's direction, and Dench has missed him by about 3 inches, if that. Just extraordinary. Stick with me here, guys. Let's get back to work because the race is back on. Green flag flies, and we are racing once more. But we've lost 12 and a half minutes, and Dench has come to pit lane. Now, what's that about?
I know what that's about. No, my guess.
Bobbin, good evening to you.
Good evening.
Let's get to your race in just a moment, but firstly, what's your thoughts on this? Buzz to the outside! Hold that thought, Joe. I'm coming back here. Buzz with an ambitious move around the outside to put himself on the inside for 2. Got him! What a move that was! Chuk Fung Wong forces the issue 3-3. They're still side by side, but Buzz has got it covered off. Done! Nicely! Now Fung Wong under pressure from Cooper, and Cooper up the outside. The gloves are off immediately off the restart. And Fung Wong loses 2 positions. Joe Baldwin, let's go to you.
I think what Denchi's doing, I think they're going to be marginal to get home without stopping. I think he's realised if he ducks in now, fills it up, he's going to have clear track. He won't have to battle anyone. And he can set his own pace.
Yes, it is. There's 4 or 5 people who've been under the safety car on the back of the train. And then now he's got a third of a lap to catch them now.
Yes.
He's 27 seconds down on the leader. He's 18 down on Paul Wood, Trent Allen, Ash Collins, Jake Jackson. They're the next 4 on the train. Richard Mitchum also stopped under the safety car, and he is 11th. And it's interesting too because now that we're on lap 5, we've gone 14 minutes into the race. The race time, last lap around was nearly 4 minutes. The first lap was 3:11. The second lap was 3:11. The second safety car lap was 3.5. We've lost that much time under the caution that we'll lose at least 2, possibly even 3 racing laps. I'm going to do those calculations in just a moment. Oh, what a trouble! Jake Jackson eating the sandwich, and he goes round. Unfortunately, he had, I think it was Greg Heaney to one side of him, and I couldn't quite pick up who was the other side of him, but Jake Jackson bites dust.
He just kept it off the wall, thankfully, so there'll be no damage that he'll have to carry through the end of the race. So that part of it's very, very lucky for Jake, but yeah, unlucky to get spat out like that for sure.
3 wide into the last corner. What were those blokes thinking? We'll have another look at it in a moment for you. Oh, trouble. Baz has gone round. David Baz has gone round. Middle of the racetrack. The front end's gone off the Ferrari. Richard Mitchum took evasive action. That was what alerted us to the trouble. And the seas are parting for Denchi ever so gingerly, ever so gradually. The seas are parting for Denchi, who's going to come across all these incidents after they've happened and cleared. This is extraordinary stuff. Ben Wood's back in pit lane, has been for a while. Jared Knight's got back out onto the racetrack. He's still in the commentary box with us. That's good. We'll get to him in a moment. He's 3 laps down. Now, that's what happened there. Jake Jackson just got sent. Greg Heaney did well to pull it up off the grass. I missed the car that was on the inside. I did miss who it was on the inside. But let's have a look at this. Was there contact here? No, Baz has gone all on his own. The rear end of the Ferrari steps out. And he's going to get clouded here by someone.
Oh.
Bang.
Oh.
He got clouded on the way through. I'm not sure who collected him, to be fair.
I think it was a lock.
Yeah.
Braden O'Loughlin. Yeah, that makes sense.
It's so easy to do around here with the Ferrari. It's just a bit of a pendulum effect getting up around those sausage curbs with the car, I found.
Yeah. Now, answer us the next question, Trucker, on that subject. The fact that you have track experience and you know what's going on out there. Okay, race 1 didn't exactly go to plan, but why are you here so early into race 2, please?
See, race 1. Race 2 didn't go to plan either. No, I actually had a cracking start by the end of lap 2. I was up 10 spots into 10th. Had pace on the couple of guys that were directly in front of me and just made a mistake. The same sausage curb I touched on lap 1 in race 1. I just got too close, tagged myself, and when the car spun round, knocked the rear wing off, and I did realise and went down to the last S's before the final turn and lost the rear and ripped the corner off it on the fence. So it's, I just put it back in the shed and fix it later in the week.
All right, very nicely done. Let's go back to you, Nighty. You were saying there to me earlier, and I hope you don't mind talking to us while you're driving, but you were saying to me there earlier that it was partly the price you paid for putting yourself in that position. Now, our numbers show that you started 12th. So we didn't see race 1. We were watching the AM split. How did we get to be 12th at the end of race 1, please?
We qualified 11th. We gained one position. And just tried to make a little move around the outside of David Baz into 2. And he sort of squeezed me, but looking back on it, he still had plenty of room, and I just grabbed a bit of grass on the right end and looped it myself. So,
David Baz has been in the thick of it tonight, hasn't he? He's had a night to remember. Jesus. Let's have a look at this. We are almost at half race distance now, which will be 18 and a half minutes of 37, and we're only on lap 7. So on those numbers, looking at the race pace now, which is in the 1 minute 48s for Aaron Cooper, 148.03, 147.4 that time around. Porsche's flying here at the moment. So if we're basing it on that, 147, I'm going to round it up to 145 just for the mathematical side of things. 3.7 to 21, you get 4 laps in 7 minutes. 145, 335, 15, 7. 3 times that, 12. We're gonna go close. We might only lose 1 lap, and even then, it's an if, it's a maybe. We should. Look, yeah. If I'm a gambling man, I say that we lose 1 lap. We lose lap 20. We'll get 19 even with the splash and dash. That's if I'm a gambling man, that's what I'm leaning towards.
Well,
that we do lose that 19th lap.
In theory,
that 20th lap. Sorry.
In theory, Richard doesn't need a splash and dash, so he's on pace. So wherever he is now, he is the effective leader.
Okay.
If these guys have to stop.
And if that works in his favour and he does somehow drag this race out to full distance, A, I'll be surprised, and B, it could just make or break a couple of people. It could just make or break a couple of people, which to anyone that stopped earlier in the piece, it's to their benefit.
And as we've seen recently a couple of times with the way the algorithm works with the white flag, it's the white flag that's the key. So if you try and get that last lap and then you don't meet the criteria and don't pull the white flag, then no matter what, the white flag will be another lap. Even if the time has elapsed, it'll be the lap after.
Yeah. Okay, so if I'm saying now, 1 second, I've gone 3.7 to 21, but there weren't 21 minutes left in the race. There was only 19. So if I'm right, look, I'm having a shocker tonight, aren't I? And there were 13 laps at the time. left across the stripe. There we go. 12 laps to go according to the totem pole and 17 minutes. There's no way in bloody hell we're making that, ladies and gentlemen. It's a 10-lap race from here. It's a 10-lap race from here, even with the splash and dash. There you go. So you've only got to make it to 18. So for anyone like Richard Mitchum, they're back in the game. For anyone like Ash Collins, Paul Wood, Trent Allen. Whoa, Zach Christie with a big send on Richard Mitchum. But he's got to get up and get going. He's got to get up and get going because Cooper, Fung Wong, O'Loughlin, Khan, Christie, Fuge, Hooper, Christensen, Collins, Sharp. Sorry, Collins has stopped. Sharp hasn't. Baz, Heaney, Benici, all yet to stop. All yet to stop. Dench, the fastest lap of the race, 147.376. Watch the bloke fly. 4.46 was his stop time last time he came into pit lane. All the boys have got back out there with the exception of Ben Woods, who's crunched up and I'd say parked for the night. And, I mean, if we get to 18... Geez, it's a night where even I'm reaching for the calculator, which tells you how fried my brain is.
You got to feel sorry for Benny Woods, though. He's had an amazing night to qualify pole and then to beat Denchi on track in the first race.
Yeah, absolutely.
Only to be caught out by someone else's incident in the second one, unfortunately. Very unfortunate.
Yeah, but he wasn't alone. There was 6 or 7 cars caught up in that, 4 of whom have had their night pretty much compromised since that moment. Jared, to you, I guess the good news is, as Jonathan Hooper gets back down on the inside and gets up into 7th place, displaces Tim Fuge and David Christensen. So I guess the good news is you've got back out
Sharp,
there. You are 3 laps down as Dale Sharp comes to pit lane. But you will still get classified because you only have to complete 13.5 laps in an 18-lap race to make that 75% threshold. So that's the good news. The bad news is you're 3 laps down, you're basically going through the motions. But what works in your favour is the field size here tonight. It's not terribly big, therefore you don't have to worry about missing the cut as far as points are concerned because we don't have 25 cars in the grid.
Yeah, there's always a silver lining, I guess, but...
Trust me to find it too.
Yeah, it's literally just cutting laps to learn the track at the moment and just watching Benji just sail away in the distance in front of me. It's he came back for a lap or so, but so I don't know what was going on there.
He would have been cooling his tyres off.
Yeah, just put the hammer down, and now he's just going to do purple laps for the remainder.
Indeed he will, and he'll be able to push through as only he can. And it'll be interesting to see what everybody else's markers are saying with regards to laps. But yes, once I did the complete job of the mathematics, I overcalculated the first time around.
Mine's saying 8.5 laps from here, and I'm at the back of the track at the moment. So
yeah, and 8.5 for you would get you up to 15. So yeah,
that makes sense.
That's right, 15 and 18. So that's where we're going. And you don't need to stop from this point.
I've got to lift a little bit to get home. I don't really feel like going through pit lane again. So
fair enough. No, not after your first day of what was it, 10 minutes and 26 seconds. Yeah, unfortunately, it's that's the great equaliser of tracks like this, though, Noddy. I mean, yep, it's caught you out tonight, but it always throws the form guide out of the window in some respect because everyone goes back to the drawing board. Everyone's got to learn not only the track and which way it goes, but also work out a car setup that's effective for it too. There's Ash Collins making his way by Tim Fuge, who's got David Christensen and Paul Wood lurking right in his rear view at the moment. But I guess we're excited about what's coming up. Mazzano and Portimao. I'm probably more excited about Portimao than I am Mazzano. What are your thoughts?
I was completely unaware that those tracks were coming, to be honest. I've been living under a rock for a week, so bar the or maybe living on a beach, not a rock. But bar the rain update coming.
You did chime in from the beach last week, did you not?
Yeah, I did. Bar the rain update coming in, I haven't heard much. So yeah.
Well, that's all that anyone's talking about, really.
Nice,
Yeah, Portimao, Portugal, home of the Portuguese MotoGP, and when it's needed, the Portuguese Formula 1 Grand Prix as well these days. And nice to see Portugal finally getting a circuit on the iRacing server and platforms as well. All right, mate. Very nicely done. Joe Baldwin's seen himself out, which is unfortunate. I was going to go back to El Presidente, but we can't do that. We'll catch up with him later in the week. It's been one hell of a night, this seventh round of Waste Options GT3 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. I'll come back to you soon, 90. In the meantime, let's focus on the task at hand here. It's very unlike Denchi to be that far down the order, but I guess, well, Adam Lavis, if I'm looking at the silver lining here, first and second in the opening round, first in the second round, a ninth and a sixth in the third round. The sprint rounds have been his Achilles heel. First, second, and then, well, potentially what's going to be a second and a... Well, at the moment, it's saying 14th. But what are the projections based on when people come into pit lane?
I would say he's currently 5th if everyone has to stop, because everyone who has stopped has come out behind him. So if no one can stretch this, he's effectively 5th. Copy
that. The rest is going to come down to how hard he wants to thread the needle. Interesting, because that's now, as I say, we're racing to 18 laps, not 20. And that's a time certain factor, unfortunately. Not that we've got anywhere to be. Although Adam Lavis does have an incredibly early alarm tomorrow morning. It's just that iRacing aren't very generous with the allowing extra time or a little bit of a buffer for safety cars. Hence why red flags aren't in the survey yet either. And on the subject of that, I'm going to come back to that a little bit later on. In the meantime, let's continue on here, because if what Adam's saying is right, then it'll be this round and that other sprint round earlier in the season that'll be Denchi's drop rounds, that round from Alton Park. That all of a sudden, as the championship fight is concerned, John Merritt has already burnt 2 rounds by not turning up. He's about to burn a third because he wasn't on the grid tonight. And then, of course, we've got Aragon, Nürburgring, and Spa, the remaining 3 rounds. Now, when it comes to Aragon, Joe Baldwin's going to be here with me in the commentary box because he won't touch it with the barge pole. Ash Collins here in 8th at the moment under pressure, trying to get by Jonathan Hooper up the outside, if you don't mind, up the outside, following Zach Christie through. Tight. It's a good tussle, this one. Hooper gets on by. Collins forces the issue on the inside. Can't get it done. Hooper covers it off. Hooper holds 7th for now. Collins, Fuge, and Christensen the top 10. Then Paul Wood in 11th. Jake Jackson, David Baz, Matt Dench makes up the top 14. Sean Benici's come to pit lane. Adam Lavis's point about everybody else falling out in behind Dench is right. The 3 guys that are 3 laps down, he doesn't need to worry about either. So he's already got nearly half the field covered off here. But what also works in his favour tonight, right? Look at the 2 guys nearest to him in the championship. Okay, Jared Knight, his issues are well documented. John Merritt's not here. Richard Mitchum, yep, sure, it's been a good fight for Richard. He's running 5th at the moment. He could win the thing if everything falls his way here. He's following Braden O'Loughlin and saving a little bit of juice in the process at the moment, no doubt. 8.5 minutes to go, 5 laps at the line, provided that Mitchum doesn't need to stop, which we assume that he doesn't. And that'll mean that the maximum stint time around his 15 laps, if our numbers are right. But we're not going to get a chance to compare that because we didn't have a fully dry run.
I just heard Braden on the radio say he's going to be kind to Richard, let him go.
Wow, sportsmanlike behaviour, if ever I've seen it. But in fairness, Braden's probably coming towards pit lane. We suspect he's coming towards pit lane. At 147.347 for Aaron Cooper, 148.1 for Feng Wong, 148.1 for Khan, 148.4 for Mitchum, who stretches on by, speeds on by, powers on by O'Loughlin, who that time around did a 148.802. Christie, Hooper, Collins, Fuge, Wood down the inside of Fuge, and Wood goes through tonight.
It's going to be a bit of bragging rights there for Woodsy, because Davo was behind Fuge for a few laps, getting the job done. Dave goes to the pits straight away. Woody's like, "Thank you, I'll take that spot."
So when we look at the championship picture, 90, You've got a DNR next to your name. This result will probably go down as a drop round for you as well. And unfortunately, you had that shocker at Okayama as well. So, unfortunately, that doesn't do you any favours in trying to keep Richard Mitchum at bay, who was only 6 points behind you coming into tonight.
No, I did say at the start of it, I wasn't sort of too worried about where I ended up in the championship. So, yeah, I mean, sort of is what it is. Some weeks are good for me this season, some weeks are bad, but yeah, I've still got a couple of good rounds to go, so we'll try and get some decent points.
Indeed. Get your thoughts on that at the end of the race, of course. In the meantime, we continue on. We've got Jake Jackson on screen at the moment, who himself has already had a moment tonight. Chuk Fung Wong to the lane. The man that's led the race from the front for much of the night is now on pit road. Tim Fuge also on pit lane at this point in time and coming back out again. Christie having a very nice run in that yellow and green Porsche. Throwback to, as I said, the 12 hour of a couple of weeks ago. What a great race that was. And we have our own capabilities as of this coming Wednesday of having a wet, dry, wet race around Mount Panorama ourselves, which is going to be a huge talking point. Everybody chomping at the bit after iRacing dropped the teaser for the rain server over the weekend. The module. It's been a long time coming, and it just adds a huge degree of realism to the whole caper. And we're very excited about it. Denchi, fastest lap of the race, 1:47.3. But can he punch out those numbers all the way to the checkered flag? Richard Mitchum's punched out a 47.7 last time around. That's not going to help. Denchi's 14 seconds down the road. Maybe he should have zigged when everybody else zigged rather than zag and come in a lap later. There's only 5 minutes left in this race. Cooper to pit lane, Khan to pit lane. I do believe this time around as well. 15 seems to be that number. But then again, they might be able to stretch it. Some of these guys might be able to stretch it, given that 3 laps were behind the safety car in that window. Yep, there goes Fred Khan. There goes Fred Khan. So for the guys that are running 15 on a dry, on a full green run, albeit the first one under safety car, it's a seriously solid effort. Christie to the inside, Collins to the outside. Christie defending again to turn 1, and that's been par for the course the last couple of laps.
How many minutes from the clock when the green flag dropped?
After the safety car.
Yeah, how long did the safety car take out of the race?
Well, the safety car took, by my count, just over 10 minutes out of the race. So the safety car waved at the start of lap 2. The second lap, so the first lap obviously was about 1:55 or whatever. That first lap is always a couple of seconds slower than outright lap pace. So it was about 1:50. Then we had 3 minutes 10, 3 minutes 40 and 3 minutes 50, I think, were the lap times. So 10, 40 and 50 is 100. So 10 and 2/3, so 10 minutes 40, I think, if my numbers are somewhat accurate. I don't think that's enough time to warrant a full green run to the checkered flag, though. But Fred Khan is on lap 16 of the run. Collins down the inside of Christie. Lured him into the trap. Went to go one way. Christie opened the door. Collins dived through. Very nice bit of racecraft there from Ash Collins. Set that up and executed it perfectly. Caught Christie napping. Fred Khan to pit lane at the end of lap 16. There are just 2 laps to go at the Mugello circuit in Italy. Braden O'Loughlin goes to the lane as well. Ash Collins leads the charge to try and track down Richard Mitchum. Paul Wood goes through. Jackson goes through. Dench goes through. The field is cleansed.
So of all the people, like Cooper's come out right behind Denchi, so they've ended up being pretty much a similar straight, even though Denchi did the straight away off the safety car, and Cooper had a fight a little bit. Cooper's come right out, and he's got a battle here with Denchi, and Jake Jackson's also. So this could be, if these guys battle, Woodsy could be on for a podium here.
Absolutely, he could be. Can Jackson track down Wood? Can Dench track down Wood? There are only 2 laps to go. If Woodsy keeps it clean here, I think he's home. If Woodsy can keep it clean, he's home.
The only thing that might annoy him is Khan's got 1 extra position on him at the moment for the positions game bonus.
That's right. Yep. Fred's up 14, 8th from 22nd. Wood from 16th to 3rd. Zach Christie up 9 spots. Dale Sharp 8. Richard Mitchum up 7 and Ash Collins up 5. The biggest movers here.
I think David Baz has had an issue. I think when he's gone to the pits, that front nose is going to be mandatory repair, so he's stuck there for a bit longer than everybody else.
Jackson got gobbled up. Cooper and Dench have pounced. Dench goes to 4th.
That could be a little bit of a troublesome for Woodsy now. He's got just 2.5 seconds to hold off Denchy, so he needs to put the helmet on.
But the white flag's in the air. White flag is in the air this time by the line for Richard Mitchum. So it's a night where we're not going to see M. Dench on the top step of the podium. But we could still see him get a double podium should something go awry for Paul Wood. Main straight, white flag in the air, 1 to go. We fall 2 laps short of scheduled race distance. So that was a number that we eventually got to. How did I get 21 out of 19? I don't know. Anyway, that's for me to work out later. Probably force a habit just doing half the job and not coming back to tidy it up. But we were talking during the safety car period about potentially losing 2 full green flag laps, and that's exactly what we've done. There was a lot going on here in the commentary box when I was trying to crunch those numbers, folks, so apologies for luring some of you into a false sense of hope there. Clock expires. It's now going to run at double time, just like the server. Mitchum, Collins, Wood, Dench, Cooper. Pretty good top 5. Paul Wood's going to be delighted with this. He must have got wind of the fact that Mitchum and Collins were going to pit lane, and Jake Jackson as well. Jackson, that's a good fight back after ending up in the kitty litter.
It's not over yet.
It's not over. It's not over. Cooper wants to force the issue, and Dench sends him wide. Dench buys a little bit of breathing space. Richard Mitchum. Brilliant strategic play to lead half a dozen drivers to pit lane at the end of lap 3 when he worked out that the caution was running for another lap. The reward is a 1-up on M. Dench, and it's a rare one at that. Ben Woods wins race 1. Richard Mitchum takes out race 2 at the Mugello circuit in Italy. Round 7, Waste Options GT3, and the Brit is on top. Ash Collins to 2nd. Paul Woodsy Wood. 2.3 seconds to the good of M. Dench, who holds off Aaron Cooper. Can you believe that? 5th for Denchy, what might have been had he pitted with Mitchum and co. He was only 13 seconds off the train, which is not bad considering he gave them a lot bigger start than that. Whew. Wow. Chuk Fung Wong to 7th. Not bad considering he led the first few opening laps there. Fred Kahn, Braden O'Loughlin and Trent Allen made up the top 10. Then Zach Christie, Jonathan Hooper, Dale Sharp, David Christensen, Tim Fuge, Greg Heaney and Sean Benici. David Baz didn't come home in any way that he would have liked to. He ended up a lap down, and he was 2 laps ahead of Jared Knight, Thomas Foster, and Michael Edwards. Ben Woods, oh dear, led the train at the end of race 1, brings up the train at the end of race 2. 22nd last, DNF, no points. So, with the pressure off, Jared Knight, nice to have you on board still with us here in Central Commentary. Pressure off, job done in terms of any factoring in the results in any way, shape or form. How nice was it to just be able to go out there in cruise control and acquaint yourself with the circuit that you didn't know very well at the start of the night?
It was delightful, actually. It's a very nice, it's a very good driver's track. It's just it's got everything. So no, it was really nice just to, I guess, just cruise around for the sake of it. Obviously, rather be battling for some more points and some better positions, but I guess it is what it is, and we'll just leave this one behind us, and we'll move on to I think you said Aragon next week.
Yep. But to be fair, there's a couple of aspects of this that I'm interested in, because as Greg Heaney and Zach Christie join us, and thanks for jumping in, fellas. Jared's been here for a while. The reality of the matter is, a racetrack like this, a night like this, where it doesn't go to plan, I mean, rather than park up and forget about it and walk off with the old dose of the SH1Ts,
which is usually my mantra.
Yes. You were able to get back in there. You said it, not me. You were able to get back out there and just chip away at it, and maybe pick up a thing or two to serve you well next time we're back here, mate. I'm not sure. I mean, because you're not factoring in the results, do you approach it any differently in terms of how you drive the rest of the stint?
There was zero push. There was no... I wasn't trying to break records or anything. I was literally just just cruising. Actually had to save about 800 mil of fuel to get home, and did that. But it was just cruising around, keeping it on the black stuff, and sort of caught a couple of the guys towards the back end of the field, and they were kind enough to just let me go, and just went on my merry way.
Indeed, they were not a bad result at all. The fact that you were able to get out there and still make it to the checkered flag, you were able to save some fuel. You might have picked up a trick or two, or a thing or two with regards to the racetrack that'll serve you well going forward. As you say, it's a driver's racetrack. It's one that we love. But as we've also found out tonight as well, it is a narrow little thing around the back of the circuit, and if it does eventuate the way that it did tonight, that we have an early race incident, it's very easy to get caught up in it.
It's the beauty of sprint racing, I guess. It's on for young and old very early, so it's it's always a chance that big incidents like that will happen, and it'll be interesting to see if that's still the take on next season, once we introduce the wet stuff.
We're very much looking forward to that. I mean, so many variables, so many permutations with that once we do get to it. I mean, this is the interesting thing, though, for you, Nighty. Would it be a spanner in the works, given that we've started a season without it, to end a season with a sprinkling of weather thrown into either the season finale or the race before?
Oh, I was actually thinking this on the trip back yesterday back home, and I wouldn't begrudge Adam for throwing that spanner in. Maybe for Spa, I think it'd be quite fitting if we got a bit of wet dry wet for Spa Francorchamps for 90 minutes. So we'll have to see what he decides, I guess.
I'm sure there's a few people that would agree with you, no doubt. We've got Paul Wood and Ben Woods now in here chatting with us as well. We'll get to them in just a tick. In the meantime, while I've got you, Nighty, just before we let you go, Aragon next week, sprint round, and I think a few people after tonight will be happy that is the last sprint round of the season.
Yeah, me included. But no, I love Aragon as a track. I don't think the beam is going to be super strong around there. I think you'll find the Porsches will be up the top again, like Mitchum, Cooper if he turns up, and Ben Woods seem to have rocket pace. So I think they'll be up the top. But yeah, well, it will have to see what happens. I think the last time I raced there on Gents, I was leading a GT4 race and just went on my own, and so we'll hope for a better result than that.
Indeed, we will. Hey, mate, we appreciate you coming in and being a good sport whilst waiting to get back out on the racetrack, and obviously staying with us once you got back out there. Glad that you've worked out what direction the track runs in now. Let's hope for better luck next time we visit.
Yeah, cheers, Zach. And just say congrats to teammate Ash on the on P2. It wasn't totally across what was going on in that race, but yeah, just looking.
Yeah,
I think there might be a little bit of a penalty hanging over his head, but I'm sure we can look over that. And yeah, just well done. And
well,
Aaron
he's
as
just
well.
saying on Facebook right now, no penalties, so that might actually be a good thing for Ash. And we never heard back on David Baz's involvement in that first incident either, so I dare say it's been deemed a racing incident, the carnage that set off the chain reaction at the top of the race. Hey, Nighty, good result. Second time you've been in the booth with us where the teammates had a good result on the podium, and obviously we saw Todd making headlines for all the wrong reasons there a couple of weeks ago with his jump start as well, and an impressive one at that. Brands Hatch, no one's going to let him live that one down. In the meanwhile, will we see you in the Porsche Thursday night?
Yeah, mate, you'll definitely see me in the Porsches at Aragon on Thursday. But whether we have a good or bad result in that car, we'll get a bit deserved.
That's actually a really good point, because it'll be Joe Baldwin coming into the commentary box for guest comments on Thursday night, because he's taking a leave of absence with Aragon. He detests the circuit. He's not going racing there. He feels a similar way about it as Nick Fodiatis does with Sebring, and that says a lot. So we'll have Joe in here on Thursday night, and we'll probably be able to twist his arm to come in and have a chat to us during GT3 on Monday night as well. That'll be good. Well done, mate. Thanks for that.
No worries, mate. Take care.
Righto. I've got to press on through this, guys, because Adam Lavis has got a 10 to 4 alarm tomorrow morning. So I'll start with Zach Christie and work my way through. A solid run, young man. 9 positions gained and lucky to avoid the carnage, I believe.
Yeah, it was lucky enough to avoid it on the second race. First one I was amongst it, but that's right. It's all about the second race for now. Yeah, I was just cruising, running my own race. Just sitting with Fred, and we're just cruising through. Some of the boys were catching up towards the end, and I was like, "Oh, do I let them go? Do I stay in front?" And I took the gamble, and I was like, "I'll just see what I can do in the front section, and hope for the best." So yeah, we got there in the end. Wish I got the P6 that I was sitting in for most of the time, but P11, happy with that. I nearly got P10, but yeah, happy for this week, especially with the new special off livery that I did for the last 2 rounds, being Matt Campbell won at Bathurst, so that I throw it in for Bathurst in this race, just to show it off and see what people think of it.
I was going to say, we were impressed by it when we saw it, and we knew immediately what you were throwing back to. In fact, it can't be called a retro livery because it's only 2 weeks old, but that's another story. In saying that, though, your teammate Greg Heaney didn't buy all the luck that you brought, because he got himself involved in a meat sandwich partway through the second race. We'll chat about that in a moment. What was the discussion between you pair regarding zigging and zagging? We saw a few guys, and it ended up being the winning strategy. Pit, when they realised the safety car was going to go around one more lap, why did you guys opt to stay out?
We were speaking about it in our radio to see whether it was a good idea to pit in early. We believe it wasn't, because we wouldn't been able to get enough fuel in. But in saying that, we still had 3 laps of fuel right at the end, so it probably could have been a gamble to go in to do it. But in hindsight, I'm still happy with P11 and sitting there towards the front again, and it gives me a little bit of motivation into next week, and then so on and so forth, because Enduro is starting too, so we're looking forward to that as a team. Yeah. Yeah, so happy with that. The safety car was a good little spanner in the works that we like to see, so it was good.
Yeah, it's rare that we have a safety car in GT3 Pro these days, but probably the right thing. Although, in saying that, there were a few races compromised by that incident. It didn't benefit anyone necessarily caught on the tow rope, because there's no fast repair awaiting them at pit lane, but it did benefit anyone that was caught up as an innocent bystander that didn't sustain any damage, that was able to just press on with it. But otherwise, it would have been a fairly sort of spread out field as a result of the carnage. What did you get a good view of the incident, or were you someone that arrived on scene well after it happened?
It was towards the end of it. I came up the hill and I was like, oh, there's cars everywhere. And I tried to do my best to avoid it. And I don't know what just happened, because it was like when crashes happen like that, you're just like, what is going on? So like I saw a bit of it and I saw someone sideways in front of me and I was like, okay, it's the grass line from here on. And it was a bit hectic in the cockpit view. As you'll probably see on the replay now, there's a Bowen's car, I believe. Oh, no, there's a Porsche there. Yep, something like that. There was cars everywhere. Forgot where was where, but yeah, happy to get through there. To be honest, because the first race I got taken out, not by anyone's cause, but it was just wrong place, wrong time, sort of thing. So, but took my learnings from that and got through this time. So it's all right.
As you do. What about your thoughts on Aragon, mate? Final sprint round of the season. What are we looking to build towards there?
Aragon it was Aragon now or later? I forgot
next week. Aragon.
Next week. I personally don't think I've driven Aragon. Might be, I forgot if I have or if I haven't. But get some practice in during the week, as well as doing a bit of enduro, and then go from there to close out the season. So just trying to pick up pieces here and there, and go from there. So I didn't get that much practice in tonight, so but I'm still happy with P11. But yeah, if I get more practice in, we'll be fine, especially when we're all together. Some of the boys were away. One boy was away sick today. Was that Aiden, Greg?
Yeah, Aiden.
Yeah, so
pulled out tonight.
If he's watching at home, hopefully he's watching at home, cheering on the boys. So yeah, hopefully see him back next week.
Hopefully so. Before we let you two go, I'm going to talk to your teammate Greg Heaney just for a moment, and then we'll get to Ben Woods, Ash Collins, and Richard Mitchum. Well done, Greg. Got to the end. It wasn't without its drama. 16th place. You were caught up in the big incident of the race, this one right here. Talk us through it, your angle.
Yeah, come around the corner, cars everywhere, and basically jam on the brakes and hope to not hit anybody. And then I got going again, and then there's a BMW sideways on the track. And then I think it might have been, I don't know if it was Woodsy or if it was one of the other Bailey's BMWs, gave me a bump from behind. Surprisingly, the back of the car was actually still drivable. But like, happy to make the end. If Adam's incident grab or whatever it is that he uses for the telecast probably caught me going sideways through the right-hander going down into the hole, down to the bottom of the track on turn lap 12. That was a hold on to your pants moment, that one.
Yes, I would imagine so. But in saying that, unlucky that you were caught up in that incident with Jake Jackson, and I missed who the other protagonist was, but the reality of the matter is that 3 into 2 doesn't go, and being on the outside in that situation is often the cause of drama. But luckily, you were able to slam on the anchors and not follow Jake off into the kiddie litter. But it did cost you a few seconds.
Oh yeah, it did. I mean, I thought I'd left enough room. I knew he was there. He was all over the back of me for the couple of corners beforehand. So I was like, well, he's going to have a go. So I leave the space, and what happens. So, I mean, that's what race control's for. They'll look at it after the fact and decide what the outcome should be. And yeah, I mean, it was good racing from them. So,
and obviously Zach had a very nice night at the office. Same question that I asked him. You guys would have been having the discussion regarding when to zig, when to zag. You zagged. Did that impact your result in any way, shape, or form, in your opinion?
In terms of trying to avoid the incident at the start, well, yes. In terms of the pit lane strategy for the stop, we were discussing it, and knowing that the laps had I known that the laps were going to take somewhere around 3 minutes a lap at pace car speed, I probably would have jumped when everybody else did for the pit lane, knowing that probably would have only needed a small top up to get to the end. But yeah, I was the one that made the call to not go for myself, and I think Zach and Fred probably followed suit. But well, we live and learn.
Exactly. And of course, once we get out of Aragon next week, mate, all eyes on the final two longer races of the season, 60 minutes and 90 minutes. Any particular format you like over the other?
Oh, look, I'm happy with the longer races, whether it be the 60, the 90, or even like the 40-minute runs that are in the official series. The sprint rounds, yeah, they're good. You just got to be very much on point, otherwise you're going to get gobbled up by the faster cars or potentially end up somewhere out in the weeds.
Indeed. All right, mate. Very nicely done. I'll let you rock and roll at this point. Who knows? We might have a wet race in the next 3 weeks, and that'll throw the cat amongst the pigeons. How much practice? Just as I do let you go here, how much practice are you going to put in to wet weather conditions once the update comes through in the early hours of Wednesday morning?
I'd say there's probably every chance that as of tomorrow afternoon through until probably midday on Saturday, I'll be jumping into every single wet practice session that's there. And I've no doubt that 90% of them based out of Australia are probably going to be at Bathurst.
Yeah, most likely. And I'd hazard a guess as well that there will be a few members of the sim racing community chucking sickies on Wednesday. Just because that will be when they wake up, it'll be there. The update will have gone through. You beauty, it's raining. It's pouring. The old man's snoring. Before we do let Adam Lavis go and do some snoring, I need to get to a few others, actually, on that note. Let's say thank you to Zach Christie and also Greg Heaney at this point in time. Boys, well done.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thanks, Zach. Thanks, Adam. Thank you to everyone for putting it on again.
We'll see you guys next week. Richard Mitchum, I'm coming to you in a moment. Ben Woods, I need to start with you for obvious reasons. Well done on the pole position. Well done on the race 1 win. How unlucky. Wrong place, wrong time, and race 2. It's a 0 to 0 type moment, but one that could not have been avoided, unfortunately.
Yeah, couldn't be happier with race 1 and qualifying, but then, yeah, race 2. Couldn't avoid it. Stuff happens. On the plus side, I was straight out of the car as soon as the safety car came out. Just was helping Richard with his strategy and fuel calcs, which helped him get home, so... Yeah, 1 win on the track, 1 in the crew chief position. I'll take it.
Yeah, exactly. And nice to see you back on track as well, mate. And I mean, obviously, I want to get your thoughts. The one question I haven't asked everybody tonight, because obviously we've been focusing on this incident here for very good reason. And unfortunately, you just became a pinata when you bounced off the wall back into the racetrack. And that's what triggered the safety car, as we know. But with regards to the circuit, it's a new circuit on the server. We haven't seen much of you throughout the course of this season. It must be nice to be able to hit the ground running and have some pace. So I guess the question is, your thoughts on the Porsche, your thoughts on Mugello, and your thoughts on being able to pick up where you left off pace-wise and get one up on both Dench and Mitchum, who in this field were probably the benchmark.
Yeah, the Porsche in the current BOP is really good. This track, it's great. It flows really nicely. When you nail the whole roller coaster section, sort of downhill, uphill, feels really good. Yeah, unfortunately, I won't be back again for the rest of the season. I was just here today, thanks to the public holiday.
The old wildcard cameo, I love it.
Yeah, so to rock up and put that in has got me in a pretty good mood. I race 2 happened, but won't ruin the mood from race 1.
No, that's right. And hopefully somewhere down the line we'll see you back on a regular basis, mate. But as you say, work is work. It sometimes does get in the way here. So that leads me into another question, I guess, given that we know that you're a valued member of the club, both on and off the circuit. What are you doing to keep yourself race fit for these rare opportunities that do present themselves?
I've been doing plenty of officials when I have the time. Running practice for a couple of other an endurance league that I'm in, and then just when I have time during the week, jump into GSRC sessions.
Indeed, very nicely done. A lot of excitement about the rain, a lot of excitement about Mazzano and Portimao being dropped on the server as well. Your thoughts on those two circuits and the long overdue inclusion of some weather elements in this caper?
Yeah, well, from the looks of the poll and the up-and-comers channel on Discord, they might be seeing that in the server I set up for them end of season. So that should be fun. All the videos and stuff came out today and been poring over those. I'm keen to see when the applications and stuff get updated, like Digital Race Engineer, who's our sponsor. Hopefully they get their app updated soon to support like the weather radar and all that. And, yeah.
Very nicely done. And obviously from a club standpoint, apart from the anticipation and the excitement around the rain, the club's alive and well, and someone uttered the words earlier, the Enduro season starts soon.
Yes, it does. I know they're still looking for numbers and stuff, which anyone who wants to jump on and is listening, absolutely jump on and get in on those Enduros. It's multi-class, so that should be really fun for anyone who wants to run a GT3 and crash into a GT3. It's always a treat.
What a bus a throw under the bus moment that was, Benny. Well done.
I've been running GTPs at Silverstone all week, so I've crashed into plenty.
Very good. I like it. All right, mate. I'll let you go on that note. Thank you. I've got a couple of guys to get to here, and time up against me. So thank you for that. Well done, and hope to see you next time there's a public holiday in your jurisdiction.
Thanks, guys.
Very nicely done. Richard Mitchum, well done. Race victor. I mean, obviously we didn't see race one, but judging by the fact that you gained 7 here, you finished 3rd there, if I'm doing my maths correctly. It'll be a first tonight. So a double podium and probably a round win as well, given the demise for Ben and the fact that Denchi was 4th in that second race. A great night at the office and the right strategy call.
Yeah, actually, well, second and first race after Dench's penalty as well. So
Denchi got a penalty in the first race. Ooh, righto.
Yeah, it was. So I mean, Ben put it on pole and just had the. Well, I think we had similar pace, but I was clocking up off tracks like nobody's business. So at the point when I had Cooper and Dench just behind me, and I was on 9x, knowing a 4x would give me a drive through, I decided to let them up the inside and hope that they had a coming together, which duly happened 1 lap later. So managed to get through there, so to take home a second. And then I mean, I think as Ben mentioned, I think his demise was my crew chief popping up and helping me run the strategy onto that first lap under safety car. I think I'd have probably been able to do it myself, but may have run into the back of somebody while I was doing calculations on that safety car lap. So we thought we could just about make it with some fuel saving in race 2. After the safety car had come in.
Yes.
So yeah, just as I was coming through the midfield, it was just heavily fuel saving and picking them off one by one down the straights, and left by the time I got a bit of clear air, I could push through to the end, and it was quite an easy win. So yeah, super happy, especially as I only bought the track 10-15 minutes before the server opened as well.
That makes it all the more impressive. Very quickly, with regards to working your way through the field, mate, talk me through that, because at least unlike a couple of the tracks we've visited in recent weeks, overtaking opportunities are fruitful around here. There's plenty of them. You've just got to make them stick, and you're able to do that tonight. And you brought a little bit of luck with a couple of incidents to avoid along the way as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's not super easy to overtake when you're close on pace, right? So I think race 1, I think it would have taken a lunge kind of with the guys around us where we were all running pretty similar pace. But yeah, coming back through the field, there was quite a big pace disparity. I think there was probably a couple of seconds a lap. I think it's one of those tracks where, because it's a momentum track, you really need to maximise track limits, inside, outside, everywhere. And yeah, so if you can get quite easily get a run on people through there. So it wasn't too bad, to be honest with you. I was just kind of heavily fuel saving and then picking my moment when I got a run.
Very nicely done, and it must be nice, even though a little bit of luck was involved in calling the right strategy, to have the pace to hold off one M Dench in that second race. He was coming home like a train, but it could have been a very different race had he gone lap 3, not lap 4. That, I mean, you know, the ifs, buts, and maybes, we could talk about that all night. But the fact of the matter is, you've got one up on the champion. And as far as the championship was concerned, when we looked coming into this round, you were one of only 2 or 3 people in the top 10 that was within some sort of striking distance of Denchi that actually bothered turning up tonight. There was no John Merritt, and of course Jared Knight was stuck in pit lane as well, and that brings me to the PS on this as well for you. Those results and Jared Knight's demise really help your championship charge as well, don't they? There it is on screen, actually. There it is right now.
Yeah. I honestly haven't been paying much attention to the championship. I've had a couple of terrible rounds near the start, so was thinking I'm well out of it. But yeah, I mean, whenever you put in a good result like that, then that's always going to bump you up. And I think I had pace on Denchi. I wasn't too worried about pace there. I was heavily fuel saving. I only put in kind of a couple of push laps of the whole race, so I think I wasn't too worried. It was more Ash Collins that I was watching the gap to, but who was coming through second. So I was just making sure I had a bit of a buffer hit on him as I was coming through the field.
I'll get to Ash in just a moment. There's the championship updated for you, folks. 339 for Denchi. It tells a completely different picture now with the drop rounds included, doesn't it? 276 for John Merritt, 253 for Richard Mitchum, 238 for Jared Knight, and 222 for Ash Collins. So that actually has been a very impressive and promising result for Ash Collins as far as the battle with his teammate is concerned. Then a good gap back to Thomas Martin, Jonathan Hooper, Paul Rogers, Chuk Fung Wong, and Aidan Luthwaite, who wasn't on the grid tonight, as we know. So very well done to you, Richard Mitchum, on the win tonight, the second in race 1, as you say. Building something very nice there as far as a podium finish is concerned, but now attention turns to the next 3 weeks and going on with it and keeping those HDS boys at bay. Aragon Sprint Racing, your thoughts?
My thoughts are I'll be doing a lot of officials with the new rain, but yeah, I'll probably make an effort just to kind of do a few laps before the server opens. But yeah, I don't think that GT3 VRSs are getting rain, so I'll be driving other cars, I would imagine, on other tracks. But yeah, it'll be a last minute jump on and see how it goes. Pace has been really good this season. I've just kind of made a few errors myself. I need to apologise again for landing on Paul Wood's roof on the Roval after a bit of a schoolboy error, totally missing my braking point.
On the roof.
And then, I think got unlucky a couple of times as well. So it's not been a season to write home about. The pace has been good at most tracks, actually, apart from obviously when you're going up against Dench and Merritt around Bathurst. I've got no chance. I've got another few more years of laps around there until I'm close. Yep. But I was closer, even though I switched to the Fez to give me a bit of a better chance. I think I've still got time to get pace to get around that place, but pace everywhere else has been pretty decent this year.
Right, last one, because I've got to quickly get to Paul Wood, Ash Collins, and wrap up, and I've got to do it in the next 10 minutes here. When you look at your history, your background, your culture, you're an expat POM that lives in Singapore. You'd be used to water. You'd be used to living in rain. Between the monsoonal storms of Singapore and England's weather in any 4 seasons of the year. So you must be chomping at the bit for the rain server. You'll take to it like a duck to water.
It should be fine, yeah. I mean, I cut my teeth on. My dad had me in go-karts at 10 years old on slicks in the rain and the snow. So yeah, I'm super happy, and I've been chatting to the guys about it. Super looking forward to how well they've executed it, and be interesting to see. I mean, it looks like they've got the racing line all sorted, and that looks super good. I'm interested when we get to Donington, because I've raced there, and it's like probably the most slick track all over, because it's right next to an airport. So you get the aviation fluid just sits on there on the track like a film, and it's an absolute nightmare. It's just like a drift track in the wet. So it'll be interesting to see if they've picked that up. And like Nürburgring and Nürburgring long track, I've driven that in the wet, and that's like, because there's so much rubber down there, it's horrendous. So super looking forward to stuff like the 24-hour race and around Nürburgring and changeable conditions.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Thanks for dropping on in and having a chat with us tonight. Appreciate that. Well done on the W, and see you in Aragon next week.
Yeah, cheers, Adam. Cheers, Zach.
There he is. A great man. Richard Mitchum. Well done. Paul Wood, to you, and then I'll finish with Ash Collins, as he was the last one to arrive in the room. Well done to you. That was a solid drive. Probably the best we've seen from you this season. First, ride your luck by a bit of luck with avoiding the carnage on the opening lap. B, follow Richard Mitchum through to pit lane and play the same strategy game. To C, reap the reward at the end of the day. The three guys that stopped in that opening array of pit stops at the end of lap 3 on the podium tonight, mate. Well done. Up 13 spots, pipped by only Fred Kahn, who got 14 gained tonight. So you ticked every box but that one, and that's the one that you really like to tick, I know.
Yes, it's a shame got away, but yeah, I was utterly surprised that the Bailey Lattice BMW carried me to a third. I think it's my first ever in pro in podium, so I couldn't believe it was happening. But yeah, that early stop, I was right at the back of the field, and I thought, well, what have I got to lose? So I just went in there. Didn't think I had anywhere near enough fuel, so I thought at least it would be a shorter stop under green, so we'll see what we can do. But as the race went on, I managed to do a bit more fuel saving under the yellow as well, and it turned out to just be enough, and I was constantly checking my fuel, and I still had about 2 minutes in hand, so I'm like, all right, let's go. So I just put the foot down and kept driving, tried to stay as straight as possible, and yeah, it all sort of just fell into place. So again, a bit of luck come my way with the way the race went, but I tried to take advantage of the mistakes made by others, and yeah, it come my way, so I'm quite happy with that and pleasantly surprised.
Indeed. And I mean, that being said, you've got to take your opportunities when they're presented to you. There is a little bit of luck associated in those incidents. Wrong place, wrong time for some guys. For you, able to avoid it, clean slate, press on. But as you say, finally, a box ticked with regards to a podium in pro. You and that BMW seem to be a comfy fit at the moment. You have hit your straps with it, and now that's a confidence-boosting result to build on for the next 3 weeks, mate.
In all honesty, I'm still really battling with the car.
Okay.
We're not seeing eye to eye. I'm sort of, as the race goes on, I learned how to drive it. Sorry?
Could have fooled us with a third.
I'm not. Yeah, well, yeah. I'm not as happy or as comfortable in the car as I would like. It just feels heavy and lumbering around. It just doesn't quite have the turn I like. But I keep working with it, and you know me, I like a challenge, so I will keep trying. I don't give up easy. So yeah, I just keep pushing it, try to do the best I can each week. But yeah, it's. I have to say I haven't enjoyed the car as much as I would have liked, and I have in past seasons with it, but. Yeah, a couple of weeks to go. How it'll go next week, I'm not holding out a lot of hope because just the understeering they had tonight. But we'll see how we go again. I'll just keep driving, see if I can wrangle around the track and get the best line I can and see if some luck comes my way again.
Yeah, you could have fooled us, Woodsy, more so not just because of the result tonight, but also the lap speed, mate. I mean, you came home with a 47.8, 47.9. That was your fastest lap and your last lap in order. And you held off Denchi, who was on a mission, on an absolute charge. He came home with a 47.6. He was only 2.3 seconds behind you. When you got wind of where those guys were on the racetrack, you would have seen that in your differentials. Were you starting to feel a little bit nervy, or were you okay knowing that you had some room to play with and you had a shorter race than what was originally anticipated because of the safety car?
I knew we were going to have a bit of a shorter race, and I knew I had time in hand, but until I passed them and I saw them in the pit, and I thought, well, hang on, this is going to be interesting. I realised at that point as well that we probably weren't going to get the extra lap that we sometimes have. So that 2 minutes I had in hand in fuel, I was like, well, this is good. This is really giving me room to play. So I just put the hammer down a little bit more again and went to push it, but I could see Denchi was gaining on me, so I knew I couldn't afford to make a mistake. But I just was watching the gap. I knew I only had to keep him at least a 2 second gap for that last lap. So if I did make any little mistakes, I still had a breather. But once I got the white flag and that last one, I thought, you beauty, this is going to be brilliant. So I just put my head down, made sure I got the car braked in a straight line. It felt like a little bit slower lap to me, but I was just watching it. Once I got to sort of the last sector, I thought, nah, I've got this in the bag. The crew chief told me I was running on the smell of an oily rag, so I thought, right, hopefully I just got enough fuel to get there, which I did. So it all sort of come together in the end. But up until then, I was just counting my lucky stars and watching lap by lap with the fuel and hoping I didn't have to pull in for a quick splash and dash. But it all worked out great. So in the end, the stars aligned and it worked in my favour. So I was happy I made the early pit when I did.
All right, mate. And you've already mentioned you're not sure about next week because of the grip in the car and the way it handles. So we'll see how it goes. We wish you well, and we'll see you then.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
All right. From Paul Wood to Ash Collins to wrap things up. Hey, mate, well done. Somewhat flew under the radar a little bit, but again, zigging when the option was there to zig or zag. You zigged into pit lane, you topped up the tank, and it reaped the rewards with A, keeping it clean, B, avoiding trouble, and C, coming home in second place. Yeah, sure, 7.5 seconds down on Richard Mitchum, but you had 3.5 seconds up your sleeve back to Paul Wood. A solid run, albeit in the end it looked like a lonely run.
Thank you, mate. It was a good race. It was a tough race. Definitely had to zig and zag, and I think as some of the others called out earlier, it's a very hard track to pass on unless you've got massive pace difference. So taking advantage of the early pit stop, like a few of the other boys did, that was, I think, it was right on the edge, obviously, on fuel. I think I finished with about half a litre in the end, but figured if there's only a few of us going in, it was going to pay dividends at the end.
Indeed it did, and it became clear pretty early in the piece that it was going to pay off for you guys. Let me just break it down for everybody tuning in at home. 5 BMWs, 4 Porsches and a Ferrari in the top 10. You were the first of the BMWs. Do you agree with some of the comments that have been made that the BMWs didn't quite stack up tonight compared to the Porsche of Richard Mitchum? And of course, let's not forget as well that Benny Woods was in a Porsche as well. I mean, sure, Denchi punched out the fastest lap of the race, but the Porsches just seem to have that consistency.
Yeah, I think Porsche's definitely the quickest car, probably in the early phase of the race. I think overall, in the first half of the race, in both races, I think the Porsches are a bit quicker. I think their tyres seemed to get a bit warm looking at lap times as we kept going, so I think the Beamer sort of came into its own as the fuel came off a little bit, but did a fair bit of work. As Woodsy said, it did have a bit of understeer, so did a bit of work trying to get some turn in and some exit on it just to get it to do what I needed to.
And as far as, the season's concerned, when we saw those championship points up there a few moments ago, and Adam Lavis might be able to bring them back up on screen for everybody at home that might be just joining us, the reality of the matter is we've got 3 rounds left in this championship, and we've still got a few positional battles inside that top 10 to play for, very much alive and well, yours included. 3rd, 4th and 5th, Mitchum, Knight, Collins. Mate, you're only 31 points off Richard. There's 4 races to come, triple points or enduro points in the last week. A top 3 finish is still very doable here.
Yeah, that's the plan, mate. I think there's a good bit of friendly rivalry with Richard. I think we always end up pretty close on track, which is nice, and it's always firm but fair, which is the best way to race. I already had a couple of drop rounds, unfortunately, in the enduro round last week, just due to real life, but I think the last 3 rounds will make it very interesting for the final end of the season.
Indeed, we're looking forward to it immensely. And quickly, last one before I let you go. Thoughts on Aragon, thoughts on the new content coming and rain as well. I mean, we've got Mazzano and Portimao dropping. They should spice things up. But rain has been the big talking point this week. How much time are you going to spend working in different conditions when the server is updated overnight tomorrow night?
Firstly, on Aragon, I'll probably do a Richard and buy it 15 minutes before we jump in next week.
Yes.
But
nice.
I think the first track I'll be on, I think, will be probably Nürburgring. I just love that joint, so it'll be quite interesting to give that a spin in the rain, probably in the BMW, no doubt, seeing as I'm pretty comfy in it already.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Thanks for stopping on by for a chat. Well done tonight. Look forward to seeing what you bring to the table for the last 3 rounds of the season.
Cheers, Zach. Thank you.
And nice to have Ash Collins in here for a chat, first time in a while as well. We couldn't do this. It's well worth noting each and every time I say it, without the great support of these people, ladies and gentlemen, the platforms, the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Huge thanks, as always, to Waste Options, to Sprayton Insider, Player One Sim Gear, Lobesy Racing, and Wave Australia, and Flash Graphics for their ongoing continued support of everything we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It doesn't go unnoticed. It is greatly appreciated. Put simply, if they weren't here, we wouldn't be, ladies and gentlemen. Let's look ahead at what's coming your way for the rest of week 7. And it's the up-and-comers tomorrow night from Barber Motorsport Park in the 2014 Supercars. And so that's one step down from what iRacing's currently got. Road America will be exactly where the GT1 Civil War round plays out tomorrow night, 35-minute race there. But for the Supercars, it's Barber, and it's a 3-race super sprint round from 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Wednesday night, stick around because we'll have a couple of Wednesday night broadcasts before the end of the season. I'm reliably informed they're trying to organise that in the background at the moment, just to get us there, so that we can bring you some scintillating action from the Toyota 86s and the GT4s. We're guaranteed rain in the GR86s because it has been requested. It has been almost demanded by the masses there in the Toyotas at the moment. Watkins Glen, the venue this week, classic boot configuration. 2 sprint races, the equation, and it gets underway 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time, followed at 9 o'clock by the GT4 Challenge from Long Beach in a 40-minute race there. Thursday night, to be confirmed. Will it be Sebring? Will it be Daytona? Will it be Le Mans? Will it be something else entirely? Tune in Thursday night. Join us to find out when we bring you round 7 of Sprayton Insider Formula V. And that's a 3-race format for you there. Porsche Cup follows from Motorland Aragon. Joe Baldwin will be our guest in the commentary box because he has no interest in being on the racetrack. 40 minutes the journey there for those guys. Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Friday night, Super Formula is up. From Magny-Cours in France. That'll be an absolute beauty. 3 sprint races on the agenda there for you, and that will be getting underway 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Mount Panorama, Saturday night, Mountain Men, 32 laps in the USF 2000s. That will be from 8:30 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Sunday, Watkins Glen, the boot circuit. We've got a couple of to be confirms here as to A, broadcast details, and B, what time the race starts there, according to that. 4-hour race, Watkins Glen Boot, GSRC Endurance Championship getting underway on Sunday, followed later that night by the Supercar Oval Series from a to-be-confirmed venue from 8 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Monday night, the start of Week 8 for you. Super 2 Supercars and Super 3 combined split for you for Player One Sim Gear from the Long Beach Circuit in Long Beach, California. And then that's over 25 minutes. Then we move to Aragon, the final round of Waste Options GT3 sprint racing for the season, the 8th round of the campaign. GT3 AM first up into GT3 Pro as we bring you the final sprint round of the season, 8:45 Eastern Daylight Time. Join us for the start of the broadcast, however, at 7:45 Eastern Daylight Time for the Supercars entree. That's it from us. GSRC.myshopify.com if you want to get amongst any of the merch available for purchase in there. Merch.tgsrci.com takes you to the same place. GSRC.myshopify.com or merch.tgsrci.com takes you to the same place. Race.tgsrci.com if you want to get involved in anything else that we do here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, if you're looking for any particular information regarding how to get involved and what it's all about. And as far as the Endurance Championship is concerned, we mentioned it earlier. Watkins Glen will kick us off. 3rd month of the season, 10th day of it, the 2nd Sunday of March. is when it all fires into gear. Watkins Glen in New York. Looking forward to it immensely. Then on to Suzuka, Laguna, Le Mans, Motorsport, Spa, Fuji, Mugello, Nordschleife, Red Bull Ring, and Road America. It is an international calendar this year. No stops in Australia. And GTP and GT3 gets underway on Sunday. That's it from us. We're done. Hope you enjoyed it. Frantic night. Supercars were tame in parts, but entertaining with more cars on the circuit. No doubt about that. That's a step in the right direction, a tick in the box. And the GT3s, well, it was clean in the outset, and then all hell broke loose. The fireworks let off in race 2. And at the end of the day, we had a couple of different winners across each of the servers, which was really, really good. We didn't get the GT3 AM results. We'll do that next week when we bring you the final sprint round of their season. In the meantime, on behalf of Adam Lavis and all the crew here, Monday Night Motorsport done and dusted for week 7. And we look forward to your company again when we bring you Thursday Night Motorsport in 3 days' time. Make sure you have a great week, everybody. The first week of autumn up and away. We're edging closer to the Easter break and the end of Term 1 for 2024. Have a great evening. Bye for now.